Morning, everyone. I would like to call the regular council meeting of Wednesday, February 7th, 2024 to order at 9:04 a.m. I will now ask for a roll call.
Mayor LaValle,
Here.
Councillor Collins,
Here.
Councillor Florence,
Here.
Councillor Kuyak,
Here.
Councillor Pijot,
Here.
Councillor Rodnick,
Here.
and Councillor Sinop.
Here. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to now do the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people, specifically the Madawaskini people of the Madawaska River. We further acknowledge that the Algonquin peoples have been stewards of this land since time immemorial, and we strive to treat the land, along with the flora and fauna it supports, the people, their customs and traditions, with honor and respect. Today, this area is home to people of all walks of life, and we acknowledge the shared opportunities and responsibilities to live, work, and survive within this beautiful territory. Shimmiigwech, all my relations. With that, I will ask if there is any amendments to the agenda. Seeing none, I will ask for an adoption of the agenda for today.
I'll move that we adopt the agenda.
Moved by Council Florence, second by Council Sidoff.
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the agenda as circulated for the regular council meeting of February 7th, 2024.
Then duly moved and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest this morning?
I have a pecuniary interest in the motion regarding the operating grant for the Flying Feathers Archery Club.
One pecuniary interest, Councillor Rodnick,
I have a conflict with the physician recruitment.
physician recruitment.
Item number 4 in the action.
Item number 4, okay. Then duly noted. Thank you. With that, I will move to our presentations of this morning. Thank you very much for coming. I understand we are doing a presentation from the St. Francis Memorial Healthcare Foundation and members of the Emergency Department Redevelopment team. Okay, well, just move up to the front if you like, and I'll just get you to state your names and we'll go ahead with the presentation. Thank you for coming out on this sunny, cold morning. It's a little bit better.
It's that wonky chair.
So thank you.
Greetings. Thank you so much for having us here today. My name is Erin Dino and I am the director of the St. Francis Valley Healthcare Foundation. And with me this morning is Dr. Joe Cebulski and Ray Pasquay. And they are volunteer members of our campaign leadership team, helping to raise the foundation, helping the foundation to raise funds for the redevelopment of the emergency department and renovation of the ambulatory care services area. So we're here this morning to share information about this very important project for our area.
Okay.
A brief history. We call it history of caring. The first hospital in Barry's Bay was in 1935. Very few here may realize that, but it was run by a physician privately. Eventually closed in the mid-40s or early 40s. And then discussion began about a real publicly funded hospital in the area. And the Minister of Health was approached in Toronto in the late 40s, and permission to go after a charter to build a new hospital in the area was granted in the late 40s, about 1947. And the charter was actually granted in 1952. And that's when fundraising started in a serious fashion. And eventually the new hospital came to fruition. And building started in 1959, completed in 1960, opened by Mr. Frost, Leslie Frost, the Honorable, and on October 25th, 1960. I don't know if one of the council members here, I know Joan worked at the hospital, and I don't know if she remembers the original emergency room
I do.
with the one room and a little metal table that was about 2 feet wide and a waiting room that you could see through the doors into the waiting room, and you could, if you were in a waiting room, you could hear everything that was going on in the emergency room. This obviously was totally unacceptable, but it took a long time for a new wing to be added in 1987 with a new emergency room. There were also a number of beds for continuing care. Everyone was really quite proud of this development. And at that time, it probably was the state of the art and the best we could do. But at that time, there were approximately 5,000 patients, and which has ballooned per year, which has ballooned now to about 11,000. And this was quite, quite inappropriate to carry on an emergency service. And in 1998, we partnered with Renfrew Victoria Hospital, which brought on a number of satellite clinics with hemodialysis, mammography, and telehealth, which really benefited the patient. In June of 2019, we became part of the what we called the Corridor 60, Highway 60, which linked us to hospitals in Renfrew, Arnprior, and Ottawa through an EMR program called EPIC. It's each year as it went by, it became more and more apparent that we were lacking in confidentiality, space, in our emergency facility. The patient contact in the hospital, 63% through the emergency rooms, which is quite a high volume for the area. The map previously.
Go to the map.
Yeah.
It shows where Barry's Bay is. Unfortunately, Whitney wasn't put on the map. I don't know why. That might have been the,
There's no hospital in Whitney.
no, that's true, but the soul of Dr. David Lloyd still resides here.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, it gives you an idea where we are. We're in the middle of nowhere. And I think the Ministry of Health realized this. They realized the distance to other hospitals. And when it is a true blue emergency, minutes and even seconds count. And like the distance between even Renfrew and Pembroke and Huntsville is huge when it comes to healthcare. And I do think the Ministry of Health realizes this now, certainly. The challenges we have with an ever increasing clientele in the emergency room. There's, with the onset of SARS in 2003 and COVID now in 2020, it became apparent that one waiting room wasn't the most appropriate with everybody breathing everybody else's air. And for different areas of an institution or an emergency room or outpatient clinics, you need separate waiting rooms to separate the sick from the well and the very sick. Triaging is done in our waiting area, which is also inappropriate. There's one entrance. Entrances need to be shared for people that could possibly have an infectious disease like COVID or something else that's not if, but when it comes. And that's inevitable. There's a gross lack of private areas for grieving patients who have lost a loved one, family, unexpectedly, especially if it's a child. There are only 2 examining rooms that have doors on them currently. There are a total of 6 beds, but 2 have doors, but there's a 1-inch gap below the door. So even that isn't very confidential. The communication desk was designed before EMI and to accommodate 2 people. Now, there are times I was at the hospital Monday night and there were 6 people trying to work out of that tiny space. And there's no place to go. There is no more room. There's 1 patient bathroom, which is very small. It is accessible by wheelchair, but barely. There's basically no room for an attendant. It's just too small. So overall space issues. In spite of that, the staff continue to provide as excellent care as possible in these constrained facilities. So the idea of expanding the emergency room came about years ago and is slowly coming to fruition. And I'll let Aaron take over from there.
So we're looking at the opportunity. So solving all of the issues that Dr. Cebulski just spoke about. So with the new build, we're going to see drastic improvements to the overall design. Critical concerns with privacy, infection control, and space issues will all be solved. In terms of privacy and confidentiality, all the exam rooms will be self-contained. So no more blue curtains that you might have experienced. The triage room and registration area, there'll be a space for triage that will be enclosed and a space for registration that will also be enclosed. There'll be a designated quiet room for family members in distress. And we're looking at a 6,000 square foot addition. So with that comes more space, a larger centralized communication center for staff, so much larger. Enhanced sight lines. I know with care staff right now, there are some sight lines where seeing their patients is a challenge. So sight lines will be enhanced. What you'll see is a lot of glass walls with privacy blinds that do come down between the glass. There will be a dedicated entrance just for the emergency department and a separate waiting area for the emergency department as well. A separate space for EMS personnel to work in, an enclosed ambulance bay. This is really nice. So the ambulance will drive in enclosed space, and the patient will be able to get out, no longer exposed to the elements, and directly into the emergency department. There'll be a designated space for medical equipment. I'm not sure. Back in the 80s, there wasn't quite as many big pieces of equipment. Now you'll see staff walking around with workstation on wheels, the computer system they use. Those pieces of equipment just weren't around back then, and now there's not really designated space for that equipment. So place for everything, medication room. The dispensing unit for medication is large. Huge. So designated space for that. In terms of infection control, there will be a separate isolation room with its own washroom. And a standard decontamination space as well as spaces for clean and dirty laundry. And those are just some of the perks. Also, we're looking at a 6,000-foot renovation within the existing footprint of inside the hospital. So big changes to the ambulatory care clinic, which offers outpatient services such as telemedicine. So consultation with specialists from far away. So cuts back on extensive travel for those needing to see specialists. Also offers wound care, blood transfusions, IV therapy, and more. So with this renovation, we'll see a separate waiting area just for people accessing these outpatient services. There'll be more exam rooms. I already said its own waiting room, just a better flow of services, and of course more patient privacy and comfort, and a new telemedicine consultation room as well. So next up, we have a video, and it's a short video. It really brings this project to life, and I'll talk through the video as it's playing. Going to start off, we're going to be coming into the main lobby that you're probably used to accessing now. So this waiting area will no longer be for emergency patients. It will be for those waiting for x-ray appointments or laboratory appointments. We're going to see a registration area for those patients. We're going to go into the ambulatory care renovation space, separate waiting area as we enter. And we're going to be walking down the corridor. You see at the end, the new telemedicine consultation room. On the right, there are some working spaces and 2 exam rooms. And you'll notice these exam rooms have exit doors on the other side that actually can be used for ER overflow. And there's some additional exam rooms on the right. Just walking back out. And we'll see another smaller waiting room. And this is where you'd wait after you dress into your gown. A couple other designated spaces for storage. Walking back out through the waiting area, back into the main lobby. Now we're going to go into the new emergency department wing. Actually, 2 registration areas now. One for X-ray and lab. And to the right, the registration area just for emergency patients. It's more private. Triage on your right, enclosed. And this is the waiting area for the emergency department. You'll see the separate entrance just for emergency patients, families. Nice big waiting area. Triage. Heading into the emergency department. You see the communications center on your right. Designated offloading for ambulance stretcher there you can see. So much larger communications center that I know staff will appreciate. And on your right, you're going to see a medication room and an equipment storage room. That back door leads into the x-ray area that is there now. And these two rooms, one is a procedure room, one is a trauma room. What's really nice is the glass wall in between the two rooms can open. More room in case of in trauma situations. And this is the isolation room with a separate bathroom. Heading back out to the ambulance bay. A separate place for EMS personnel to work. The enclosed ambulance garage. Turning around and walking back into the departments. Going to see 4 exam rooms, enclosed exam rooms on your right. And this is also where the quiet family room will be located. Back into the emerge waiting area. And that's it. Great. Wow. Yeah. This is designed with great care by staff and by going to other places and so the campaign, the Growing Together campaign. So we started planning back in 2021 and in June of 2023 we started working with a volunteer campaign leadership team. So Ray and Dr. Joe are part of it, along with some other individuals from our community. And what we're doing right now, it's called the quiet phase. We're reaching out to individuals and businesses that have the capacity to give major gifts. So we're sitting down with them. We're explaining everything about the project. They've seen the video. And what we're doing now is working through these meetings until 70 to 80% of our goal is raised. And at that time, we would announce the campaign to our community. And that's usually at some type of groundbreaking milestone at the hospital as well. And at that time, we'd invite the whole community to help us raise the remainder of the funds needed. And on to you, Ray.
Yeah, it's really something pretty exciting, and with all of that comes a cost to everything. And kind of the breakdown of what we got from the Ministry of Health. The current projected price for everything included is $20.4 million. But in that, there is consultant fees. We all know that they add up to quite a bit around a lot of tables in municipalities and whatever, but it's not part of what we have to raise. The Ministry of Health will look after that in itself. So the total cost of everything is $20.4 million. What we need to raise is the 10% of the actual building itself, the bricks and the mortar of the building, anything that is attached to the building as part of the building. So the plumbing, the electrical or whatever, you know, if you took that building and you turned it upside down and give it a good shake, if it's all part and parcel of the building, that's what we have to pay the 10% of. And so that is the number that the ministry come up with about 17.7 million dollars to put that building up from what you could see right here. So we have to raise 1.7 million of the 17. The other thing that we do have to raise ourselves, that the Ministry of Health doesn't step in on, is anything that isn't attached. So we talked about, you know, chairs or computers or lights that Dr. Joel needs to move in for examining, or so you take this building, you shake it, okay, you've got the bricks and the mortar, that's one thing, but then anything else that's loose inside and moves around, we have to pay 100% for that.
Equipment, medical equipment.
Medical equipment. Okay, so the total is $2.7 million is what we estimate that, or Ministry of Health estimates would come up for what we would need to estimate for that. So 17 million, 17.7 and $1 million for the medical equipment. And if we take a look at, you know, we're pretty privileged to have that right here, so close to us, with our hospital. But if you look around too, there's other things happening in the area. And with that there, you see the town of Huntsville, you know, $10 million towards a new hospital in the Bracebridge, Huntsville area, and also Bracebridge coming up with $10 million. These are like fantastic numbers, but bigger areas, that's for sure. But I also see that Faraday, you know, has thrown in $500,000 for the CT scanner going into the Bancroft Hospital too. So other hospitals around are doing things and upgrading stuff, and we have to, you know, we look at it ourselves here too, and maybe some of you here are aware, but Minden has lost their emergency department health, and you know, with the opportunity that we have here right now to make this happen, just kind of, you know, helps us for the longevity of our hospital here to, you know, provide that service to the people in the area for sure. So, you know, you here are, we have to thank you, Ken, because you've been contributing, you know, to the hospital over the years, and you understand, you know, what it means to the local area here for sure. So we're here today to ask that, you know, you could pledge over the next couple, 3 years of $20 million. $20 million. 20,000. We would have it all paid for.
Do that.
That's a good.
$20,000. And if I've got the numbers better than what I just had, you know, I think your households are someplace around 12 to 1,300 households within the community, and I guess that would work out, you know, something like $15 to $16 per household. You know, to raise the $20,000. So it's not an exorbitant amount of money, but we all know that money is tight all over the place, and we have to certainly make sure we understand why that makes good sense. So if we look at all the, you know, not only the healthcare part of it all, and which we all need for ourselves, our families, and whatever, but you look at the hospital right in the center of the hub here, you know, and you got you and I up at the top that, yes, we do need the hospital, and at some point in time, for sure. But for every dollar, you know, if we look at our hospital here in Barry's Bay, every dollar spent by a hospital supports $2.30 of additional business to the community. So we look at local businesses, and if the hospital spends $1, there's $2.30 that goes around someplace. So that's income, you know, for the municipalities to you know, if people move through as a tourist, they may spend extra time or they may come to the area knowing that there is a hospital, has a fantastic brand new emergency department. You know, there's no, I think they feel more comfortable, you know, coming to an area that has that. And, you know, with that, you get more people maybe moving to the area. We've got some of the best area in the country right now, for lakes and, you know, just peace of mind, peace of quiet. So with new people, you got, you know, your schools are going to grow that much. Your, you know, anything dealing with other healthcare facilities, you know, your physio and all of that is outside the hospital, but yet it's connected. Because with the hospital, these are all part and parcel of everything that's there, to accommodate all. But the big thing I believe anyway, which we're all concerned about today, is physicians and healthcare professionals recruitment. And, you know, with the hospital as a center there, and we have many outside doctors that come in and help us over, you know, weekends in the emergency departments. And, you know, I've been there to talk to a few of them over the years. They love the area. And to me, with this expanded new emergency department, I can't imagine why it wouldn't maybe entice a new doctor, maybe say, hey, I got some of the best equipment. You know, it's, you know, like maybe piling lumber at Passway, but he changes and puts a new machine in there that's going to make life easier. Well, why wouldn't maybe a doctor look at this and say, I'd like to go there? You know, it's a brand new emergency department, and I think things would be, you know, good for him and his family to move to the area. So it definitely is, to some degree, ensures longevity of the hospital, that we wouldn't be another Minden, you know, to lose something when we have that. Definitely the potential growth for local businesses. And, you know, it's an investment in the community, tourism, real estate development, whatever. And I think one of the main captions of all of that is, you know, a thriving hospital is a thriving community. And there's so much that's built around that, other than, you know, just health in itself. And, you know, that's why I'm here. I just support it so much that it had to be part and parcel of it all. And I think it's such a good thing for our area. And that's what I've got to say about the dollars and cents in the community hospital. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That was a wonderful presentation. Yeah, I'll open the floor up for any council members that have questions or comments on this.
I do have one, and I'm glad to see that it's actually come as far as it had. Somebody jokingly said I shouldn't retire until it was built, and I'm sort of glad that I left when I did, or I'd still be there. The pledge for the 20,000, is that broken down into a 2-3 year period, or you're asking for 20,000 each year?
Broken down.
Broken down.
However, if you have 20 each year, it
Sure.
would be wonderful.
Right. I'm sure you would.
Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify that. And also very nice to see that the decontamination that I worked so hard to try to get into that plan is going to be there.
Mhm.
It's good.
Yes,
I have a question. In my experience, a lot of people that here emerge, not necessarily, but a lot of them are elderly, and the fear of going home after their care is quite daunting for them. And we know that the seniors home is supposed to be built just at the back of the hospital. Can you give us an update, or are we going to have elderly people blocking beds in this emerge unit?
We already have. The emergency room is often full. And speaking to Dr. Chen frequently, he is very frustrated with this. We have 6 beds no extra costs, nothing, and sometimes when new patients come in, we have to get them out of the beds and into chairs, so that the sicker patients can get a bed. This is entirely inappropriate and, really, I wouldn't be blaming the community or the institution. The top of the blame pile is the Ontario government. And their foot dragging in, they promised 30,000 new long-term care beds. Sure, they'll do that, but Valley Manor has been talking about redevelopment for at least 10 years. They wanted Valley Manor, I believe it's something like $8 million to raise in the community. This isn't going to happen. The Minister of Health, Long-Term Care met sometime in the early summer or late spring at Valley Manor, and they were going to take it back to Toronto and study an alternate formula. So I imagine they're still studying.
I mean, obviously I'm a healthcare professional myself, or was, and I understand, and this is very exciting, and to have an amazing emerging unit. I've actually seen the result of this, and if you don't have anywhere for the patients to go when they are treated for their emergency, they're going to be blocking beds. Have we thought about putting in maybe a short-term care unit as well, for maybe a week till they feel a bit stronger or what have you? It's all very well treating them and dealing with their absolute emergency, but I fear that maybe funds could be used in a different way to prevent this bed block situation in Emerge.
That's an ongoing discussion. The town of Renfrew looked at this, and they actually, with the hospital, built a unit. It was a huge undertaking for them, but that was basically spearheaded with their CEO of the hospital, Randy Penny, who had vision for the future. And that has come to fruition. But other communities have tried that. It's all about the money.
Yes.
Now, let me put this in perspective. We have Olivia Chow, Mayor of Toronto, wants a 9.5% tax increase. They can't live without it, but they can donate 100 million to FIFA soccer, to advertise FIFA in Toronto and support it. The Ford government has given almost 100 million to FIFA. I don't know how many games they're going to play, 6, 7 or 8 or something like that in the city of Toronto. Fine, you may like to watch soccer, but to me, this is money poorly spent. They can give half that of one donation to Valley Manor and redevelop it. But that's not a priority. It's not a priority to move patients out of the emergency rooms. The hospitals are screaming. Just about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, the Montreal hospitals, there's one major big hospital and then there's a few smaller ones, but they were averaging 150% capacity. Where are you going to put those people? There's no place to go. And again, when everything is said and done, it's right at the top. The problem is at the top. And you don't have to look at healthcare. You can look at other things. You can look at universities. See what the government did to Laurentian University in Sudbury. That was all the government's doing. Maybe there was some mismanagement on part of the university administration. But in 2019, when you cut 10% of their funding, or you actually cut it, and you also freeze tuition. Well, what's gonna happen over 5 years? And now Queens is in the same boat. This is an Ivy League university. You know, top of the list next to Toronto. And they're not being funded. Now they're in financial stress. And we gotta, like, talking to the mayor of Hagerty and Richards and Killaloe yesterday. You know, he realized that this is the problem. The problem is at the top, at the pinnacle. And like he said, their infrastructure is crumbling. And we're expected to pony up money all the time for things that are downloaded to us. And, you know, municipalities have to scream more at the provincial government.
I agree with that. I'm just fearful that if we raise the money and we get this fantastic ED department, which is needed. I mean, I'm very aware that it's needed and the staff need, and all of the things that you have said are absolutely 100% correct and needed. But I am fearful what happens there. What happens when we've encouraged all these older people to come to the area because, hey, we've got a decent emerger in it now. You're going to be saved. You know, you've got somewhere state of the art to actually go. You can't just kick them out after you've treated them. They can't just go home, a lot of them. Families can't support them at home. I'm fearful that we don't have an observation unit or an observation ward at least built into this formula. I think an observation ward built into this formula, into this ED, would be a little bit of the way. You keep someone for maybe 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, just to keep an eye on them, to make sure their sugar is still stable, make sure they're not going to have a secondary stroke or what have you, or a secondary infarct. I believe that you are amiss not having an observation ward with 6 or 7 beds for a 24-hour, 48-hour stay after emerge.
I can answer that by just good luck. Good luck.
Councillor Flores?
That would be common sense, but
The average age in our township is 57 years old. It's pretty obvious to anybody that knows that stat, that we need St. Francis Hospital. Absolutely need it. We need St. Francis Hospital and the emergency department especially, as much as we need a fire department or a dog catcher or a roads department. So for that, I'm not going to guarantee you that I'm going to go to bat for $20,000, but I will definitely go to bat for this council for some money.
Yes.
Just a comment, some people may be aware, but I did own Champlain Gardens as a retirement home. It was Water Tower Lodge at the time that my wife and I owned it. And we did take a number of people from the hospital, and it is available depending on the type of emergency that they had at the hospital. But we would, the hospital or the family, I guess, would make the choice to bring that person and stay at the retirement home in Barry's Bay. And they would look after them. We've had them there, especially for like knee and hip and whatever. They would be there and they would be looked after until they were ready to, you know, go home and look after themselves, or go home and have another member of family that they could look after them. So it is available, not necessarily through the hospital. You would pay for that because that's private, you know, but it is available through, and it's short term, you know.
It's short-term bed blocking is what I'm fearful of. You know, we're going to encourage a lot more people that will be coming to us rather than going somewhere else where they're going to sit maybe in Pembroke for 7 or 8 hours. They're going to come to this wonderful new centre, and we're going to end up with a bed blocking situation. I've seen it happen before, and we need something like the water tower offered.
If they
Sandra,
can afford it.
I'll bring those comments back to administration
Thank you.
for the hospital.
Thank you. Any other council members or question?
Because you are expecting more traffic, I'm assuming, as Councilor Lauren was saying, that everybody's getting older. our population in this township of South Algonquin is not getting younger, we're getting older. So now the demand for hospital care is going to be greater. So getting back to, Councillor Collins' statement, that's, so now they get treated at the ER. Then after that, where they go? That's just, that's, you made a comment, I don't know what the answer is, so if you were saying yes, because I don't know either.
I haven't got the answer. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Very, very, very frustrating.
So what do you do now?
You know, it just keeps getting worse. Of the G20 countries, Canada has the lowest number of long-term care beds and hospital beds of any of the G20 countries. What do you think of that?
Do not know
Yeah. You know, like, and again, things boil up, they come to the top, and the top is our governments. In the late eighties, Councillor Kuyak would remember this, the Ray days. You know, we were forced not to work in the office. We were forced to take a day off, so they would save money. Okay? They cut admissions to medical schools. So there weren't as many doctors, so we would save money. They cut nursing positions in teaching institutions. You could argue till the cows came home with the government that this was a bad move. And we're suffering the consequences now. Yes, and like the Ottawa Hospital, which is a tertiary hospital, and handle very complicated cases. They have approximately 30% of their inpatients are bed blockers. 30%. They shouldn't be there. And where I would like to know from the government, and I have talked to our MP, I said, can you give me a list of the 30,000 beds, the long-term care beds that your government has promised? That the province.
I think maybe we're addressing it. It's not particularly long-term. Maybe it's short-term beds after trauma, after surgeries that are bed blocking, and it's the short-term. And we called them observation wards in the UK, and every hospital had an observation ward. It was just part of the emergency department, and the observation ward was where somebody went just to be kept an eye on for a couple of days, or even just overnight. And it worked. It got them out of emerge. It got them out of that awful, noisy, trauma, loud situation. It gave them a chance to take a breath. I've been treated. Okay, I'm going to be okay. Just keep an eye on me for 24 hours. And it just worked. Overdose, potential overdose patients, cardiac patients, potential stroke patients, even someone whose blood pressure's gone through the roof. It gives them a chance to bring it down and be monitored if you're changing medication, that sort of thing. I don't know why we haven't built this into this supposedly state-of-the-art ED that you put together.
The government tells us how far we can go, really. And like, we would love to have this. We would love to have things like, you know, when the facility is being rebuilt, and space to put a CT scanner in at some time. If you heard the news this morning on CBC, Belleville Hospital had 17 overdoses overnight.
Yeah.
17.
Yeah.
And think about the anguish of that institution trying to manage this. They're not a big hospital. They're a community hospital, and they would love to have these observation beds. You know, they move genuinely sick patients that aren't sick by their own hand, move them out so they can observe these. It's a great big stirring spot. You're stirring the patients all the time.
If I could just maybe move on, your point will be taken,
Thank you.
Councillor Collins. Any other members of the council? Not to dispel, so you have to leave or anything, but I just thought it kind of moved this along. I mean, no doubt, you know, this township's going to support, having within the weed out department. As to how much we can, I'm just going to say that at this point in time, we haven't even done our budget, consultations for this year. So, talk to our CEO about this. We'll take this all back. It's really good information. It really helps. And, we'll certainly look at it through our budget. And the 2 to 3 years helps, because it really can't, you know, we have an election in 2 years, right? But, having said that, the other thing I wanted to say too is, we also, some of our people use the hospital in Bancroft. So we also are wary of that.
Absolutely.
And that sometimes, you know, I hear, well, how you gonna help Bancroft? But as a person that has used the ER department, in Barry's Bay, you know, top-notch service. Just yesterday, I had a comment from a member in our community that said he had to go to emerge. He went to Barry's Bay, and he said for the first time in a long time, he was made to feel like a somebody.
Nice.
So that's really nice to hear from members in our community. And so, you know, it's a lot of work. And kudos to all of you.
Thank you.
And I do know back in the day, Dr. Sabalski, that, you know, if somebody had to stay overnight, somehow there was a way found. And maybe we, over the years, because of the amount of people, can't do that so much anymore, but it certainly was done. People that were really sick stayed somewhere. You know, maybe we're past that now. And so I think I take your point that, we have to always be constant looking at the amount of money that's being given to things like our hospitals, like healthcare, like the universities, like our education. And, as townships and as places like the Association of Municipalities of Ontario and the Ontario Municipal Association, these associations get the eye and the ear of the government. And I think that's where the municipalities have to put their efforts and say, look, you have to get some more money into these local communities. So with that, I just want to say thank you very much. You know, feel free to keep us up to date on information, and we'll certainly be getting back to you. When do we do budget anyway? 28th of, not too far away. 28th of February, we start looking at our budget. So,
Wonderful.
okay, so thank you very, very much.
Thank you
So much.
for your time.
Here's my lottery tickets to men.
I'll be in touch.
Okay, then we're gonna call just a 5-minute break, if I may.
Who has to phone me for a certain number?
Together for.
We were planning it.
Probably.
Did you steal my pen?
I'd never do that.
Bye-bye. Okay, what's next?
Everyone put on a big dog for the hospital.
Hey, John, can you tell Joe to come in?
They had like,
Joe Spolsky?
Joe Floyd,
Counselor Joe.
sorry, just that we're going back on.
Joe hadn't come back yet.
And Bill.
And Bill, oh, yeah, two of them missing.
the scene on
Just that we're on Zoom.
Dallas, is it?
House. I'll see you. It's the event of the year. Or a venue in the town.
Okay.
We're on meeting.
Okay, we're unmuted. We're back in session. Thank you, everyone. With that, I'm going to ask for move and second to adopt the minutes of the regular council meeting of January 10th, 2024.
I'll move that.
Council Collins, seconded by, don't everyone, Council Rodnick,
Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the regular council meeting of January 10th, 2024 as circulated.
been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, carried. I'd like to acknowledge that Mr. Baker has joined us. Thank you for coming. Okay, with that, I'm gonna move in a seconder to adopt the minutes of the Asset Management Committee meeting of January 17th, 2024.
I'll move that.
Moved by Councilor Florin, Councilor Pijot.
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the Asset Management Committee meeting of January 17th, 2024 as circulated.
Been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, it's carried. Move on a seconder to adopt the minutes of the Waste Management Committee meeting of January 17th, 2024. Any movers? Rodnick, Councilor, yeah.
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the Waste Management Committee meeting of January 17th, 2024 as circulated.
Been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, it's carried. Move on a seconder to adopt the minutes of the special council meeting of January 26th, 2024. Councilor Priyak. Who's the seconder? Councilor Collins.
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the special council meeting of January 26th, 2024 as circulated.
Been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. That concludes all the minutes of our meetings. Move now to committee staff and council reports. Who I got first? I've got Charlene. Charlene on,
Yep. Good morning, everyone.
good morning, Charlene. Floor is yours, Charlene.
All right, does anyone? Oh, I think I've got a delay today. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions or comments for Charlene this morning?
I have one question, Charlene. It's about the little libraries, the little free libraries.
Yes.
I can understand the reasoning for moving them to the recreation halls, but in the case of Madawaska, where the recreation hall is in the same building as the library, really
Mhm.
doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
Well, no, it doesn't. And so,
Unless
well,
you're gonna
it
have-
was, they were either going to be in winter storage, or I thought if it was possible to have them set up for the winter, that we would. So it's just an alternative for winter storage, really, and
I would suggest maybe where you have the deposit thing outside the door. You know,
mhm.
there, it's kind of protected from the weather a bit.
Yeah, it's a possibility. It just, yeah, it's not overly weatherproof, so that's why I was concerned about putting it there, but if there could be adequate coverage, that would be good.
That's the only comment I had.
Any other comments or questions for Charlene? Well, that was a short question and answer period. Charlene, thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
You
too.
Moving now to the Waste Management Public Works. Stephen?
Morning, everybody.
Good morning, how are you today?
Good, you?
Good. We have your report. I don't know if there's any questions or comments that you'd like to, anything you want to say first, Stephen, and then I'll go on to questions.
Not really at the two landfill sites. We were waiting for 10 in January. We got those put on the washrooms and we installed them over the last week or so. So that they're both installed at both landfill sites, so that's scratched off the to-do list. And then the other thing, I guess, for updating is we monitor the winter sand usage throughout the winter time. In January, we used about 700 ton. And up to date, we're about, up to the end of January, we're just over 50% of the usage of what we had brought in the summertime. So we'll continue to monitor that. We should be fine, especially looking at the long range. It's not calling for a whole lot of bad weather throughout the month of February, so.
We've had a pretty easy, winter, eh?
Very easy, yeah.
We
Yeah.
had a very nice first one.
Yeah,
Let's touch wood.
might get it all March.
Yeah,
You guys have any other questions?
any questions or comments? Okay,
Those washrooms at the dump, are they open to the public as well as to the?
It was more meant, I think, for the landfill tenants. We could open them up during the open hours of the dump. That's something that could be at our discretion, I guess. But I think, like, my plan was when we go to get the other septics pumped in the summertime, we'll get those pumped at the same time when we have the pumper truck up here, so. That was my thought. We could open them when the dump and the landfill units are there anyways. And outside of that, it was just sort of designated for the tenants.
so we're still waiting for the acceptance letters from the ministry. They want letters now from Pequotnagon and, AON.
Yes,
They
yeah,
want letters, okay.
yeah.
Can we follow up to see if we get them? I know we got the one response.
Yeah,
But we didn't get another one from the AO or anything, did we?
no, I can follow up.
Yeah, if you would, that would be good, because this is crazy.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions or comments? No? Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, just well done.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay, fire report. Mr. Collins.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
You have my report in front of you. Any questions? No, great, thank you.
Not that quick.
It didn't work then either, did it?
Just trying
I
to,
have one comment in regards to the January 16th fire. Was it Glenn? Doesn't matter, the structure fire on the 8th that happened, but on, Algonquin. There's been a lot of talk within the community that the fire department, didn't do it properly, didn't react properly. And Lori might, and Sean may have heard more about this, but there was something on how they put up a
The use of the kiddie
kiddie pool.
Water tank, yeah.
And why did they do that? And, anyways, it's, you know, obviously because nobody knows your process and that, you know, they always feel, some community members always feel that it could have been done differently. I'm just wondering if that was a good time to look at education for the community. So if there was a newsletter going out or something, you could, address some of the concerns. Is that?
Do you know specifically? Yeah, I mean, obviously I can address those concerns if I knew what the concerns actually were.
That the use of the kitty and not the pumper, I believe
Yeah.
is what.
And was it put on like somebody's septic system there or no?
And then
This
the
is,
flood.
this is
that-
just,
That, I don't know whether the porta tank was put up at the location. I didn't attend the scene. Nothing was reported back to me that there were any concerns from the department at the time when they dealt with it. One of the things they did do was they thought entirely out of the box. And for a very small fee, they actually managed to employ a guy to come down with a backhoe and rake the wood pile was alight, and the core of the wood pile was alight. And no amount of spraying with water in a short term was going to put it out. What they did do was think out of the box and get somebody to come down for a small remuneration fee. He was prepared to do it for free. We did not. I don't believe that is the way forward. We should be paying for someone's services. But then we can call upon them again. And they locked the pile open. So in fact, it broke it open and they could then get in, douse the fire down and leave in a short period of time. The cost of hiring the backhoe versus 6, 7, 8 hours of staff time with 6, 7 people there, yeah, it was a no-brainer. It was the smart way forward. To explain to council then that the principle of the porta tank is that we need a volume of water. If we're expecting to be at a scene for a long period of time, we are going to need a lot of water. The only way we can deliver that water is by having the portable tank set up. The tanker dumps to the portable tank, the tanker goes away and refills. I mean, to put it in perspective, the big pumper, if I'm not even familiar with which machine they took, they probably took the 2 pumpers, but you basically, the small pumper has 500 gallons of water on it. And the pump is capable of 500 gallons a minute.
So you're
Okay,
done in
do the math.
Yeah.
30 seconds,
We're done.
to a minute, you're done. I appreciate you turn down the pump, you turn down the pressure, and you can fight the fire a lot longer. But you still only have 500 gallons. What do you do when you've used all that 500 gallon up?
That makes sense to me.
That's the principle of the porta tank.
Right.
Where it was put up, I will go back and ask the staff that attended the scene. If it was put on the septic tank, were they informed that was the location of the tank? Did they know that was the location of the tank? There are many things when you first arrive as to what's going on. And obviously at the end of the day, when the tank is there with water, you've got surplus water, the tank's got to be emptied. It has a drain. We do try and take into account where the drain is going to run away.
you're just not going to barge in on somebody's property next door and try and put a fire out and damage something, right?
Absolutely not.
No,
I mean, we're there to try and prevent damage,
that's
not
right.
cause more damage. Was the porta tank put up on someone else's property then, not the property where the fire was? You got me at a complete disadvantage. I don't know the layout of the scene, the
I don't
location. or
either.
anything, but-
No, it was just a comment.
The intent to bring it up was just basically was that the talk in town was that the fire department didn't do it right or didn't do it well. Not understanding, like me, that you need that large pool for whatever you call it, to put water into it so you can go get more.
Yep.
And that you were going to be looking at 6, 8 hour trying to put this fire out. So, with that general knowledge, was dispersed, maybe people wouldn't have such a, I would have a different view.
Perhaps one way of heading that off, I mean, because I can write any amount of love, like I write like a talk. So if you want a newsletter with information, or how about let's consider in the springtime when the weather is more appropriate, we'll have an open day at the fire hall where we will show people what our standard operating procedures are, what we have to do, what equipment we use. But of course, then, and I don't want to be rude, But Whitney is very short of volunteer firefighters. There's a lot of people live in Whitney. If they want to come down and volunteer for the fire department, I'd be very happy to show them how the equipment works and what we need to do. And I mean that in the nicest possible way.
I mean, there's usually scuttlebutt and concerns
Right.
about anything with the
Yes.
fire. Can I make a suggestion that, being that maybe you could talk to the owner of that property and get it right from the horse's
Absolutely.
mouth
Yep.
if we have those concerns?
I will.
I mean, we all know, things get said after any type of incident, and so I think we should just kind of close it up and
Yep, I will go and meet with
if
you.
that is fine with you.
Absolutely. That's a good way forward, yes.
Am I,
Thank-
Yes.
am I right in saying if you use just the pumper and douse the flames and then turn around to go and fill that, the flames would have taken hold even more? And that's why the portable pump gets used,
Absolutely.
and people are not aware of that.
We need to keep putting water onto the fire to douse it out. We can't go away and leave it and then come back to it. You know, as you say, it will just reform and take hold of the further. Yeah, that would be nice, you know.
That's exactly what happened.
I mean, I think it's just really nice to say, look, we've looked into it, the occupant, the owner is
Yeah.
fine. It might dispel some of that.
And maybe, yes, maybe that was put on a septic system, who knows?
I'm
And
going,
then to go and empty it, like you said, would that have added to, more problems? I don't know.
I don't know. I will go and meet with the owner of the household and find out what happened.
Right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Chief, the first aid CPR, I think, had to be canceled because of inclement weather. Is it been rescheduled?
It has, it's rescheduled for the end of February, 24th, 25th.
Seven.
It's Saturday, Sunday. One hall does one day, one hall does the next.
That's the same day as the festival of rings, and you've already committed to being in attendance at that.
Mate,
Or just one.
the request I got from Holly Hayes was for me to attend and provide fire prevention, either a talk or a chat, or just fire prevention materials. So I was away on vacation. The instructor, the next available date he had was the 24th, 25th, and they went ahead and booked him there and then.
What, is the hall available? Are you?
I don't know, I was
just thinking,
that was one of the notes I checked with Jackie yesterday, Monday, when I was here. That was one of the little notes I left her saying, can you check that? My deputy believed he did book the hall at the time, but he's asked me to check. So I'm double checking.
Yeah.
But if not, there's alternatives.
It's just.
Last year the hall was booked, and what I did at Madawaska was we cleared the fire hall out, swept it, cleaned it, and we made that a dining club. So there's alternatives.
Would it be possible to put on our website, maybe we have, that you're looking for firefighters in Whitney? Like do some PR trying to get some firefighters?
It has been put on the website, it has been put in the newsletter. All of a sudden I'm getting an influx of new recruits coming, as you've seen from the report, coming through from Madawaska, and I keep hoping,
Come to Whitney.
the last gentleman, I said, you don't live in Whitney by any chance, do you even know Madawaska? I'm like, okay.
Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe we should do another effort trying to get some people. It goes back a while when the first fire department happened and started.
Yes.
We had a real influx of people that were interested. It may be some of the same people that are getting tired, right? And saying, I want to take a break.
Yes,
And we don't have any younger people coming in that really want to get
that is,
involved.
it's
They could
it's
just
part of the
probably
problem of
part of
the-
the aging
the
population,
Asian
yeah.
population, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and lack of employment and young
Yeah.
people moving away and,
Yeah,
the same as, I heard the report from the hospital,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
the circumstances are very similar.
okay, well, thank
And if you do a post up, we could get it on our Facebook page too.
Sure.
Maybe circulate it again and get it out there.
I have a Facebook page for the fire department. And Facebook has now removed my access to it because I breached community standards by talking about carbon monoxide poisoning. And because it's all done by AI, I have no right to appeal. So we currently have a dormant
yeah, we're talking
fire
about-
department Facebook page that I can't access because I was the only admin person on it. And I can't appeal to Facebook because they're a computer, and you can't talk to the computer. So it's just,
Maybe we can get out of the township Facebook page, but we
Yeah.
won't mention carbon.
so what I've tried to do in the past, I go in as me and like share something onto the Facebook page to try and get it on the fire department Facebook page. I mean, computers, they're perfect.
There's other avenues besides Facebook.
There is, of course.
And people are making more and more use of it because of the stupid rules on Facebook.
Yeah, I will endeavour to get some sort of promotional material out for the Whitney situation.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Acceptable, you have to arrange.
Exactly.
Yes,
We're gonna do it over by the large bonfire that we're having and do s'mores at the same time, so.
And I have a question about the Festival Outdoor Rinks. The dates I was given is Friday, Saturday.
Yes,
Um,
we had to change, it'll be Saturday only.
Right,
yes,
thank you.
And you don't play badminton on the weekend?
We,
Yes.
we decided not to do the 23rd, the Friday night.
okay.
We're gonna have everything on the Saturday, the 24th.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you. We have Jennifer. Jennifer, uh-oh, she's come with good news with us. We got more money from the government.
What are we gonna do with the 20 bucks?
I don't know, we're gonna have to really split it fine.
My pension went up to $4.
Okay, so this report, just to make a note on it that there will be some more entries to come. The auditor still has their year-end entries to make to this budget. But aside from that, most of the spending is complete now at this point. So I'm not sure if anybody has any questions about the budgetary control summary report.
Any highlights that we should be aware of, Jennifer, that you think?
Well, the auditors will be presenting the 2023 financial statements,
Okay.
likely in April, possibly May. So they'll be doing the incorporation of the budgets and surplus deficit numbers.
Okay.
So that's, there'll be a better discussion at that point with the auditors on how we round it out for 2023.
I was interested to know how we ended up with more health service revenue. Where did that come from? One of the first revenue items.
I have to get back to you.
We're talking sort of 16,000 more than we thought
Yeah.
we'd get.
Get the money from the hospital?
I'd have to look into the general ledger to see exactly what made that up, but, yeah, I'm not exactly sure. That's exactly it, yes.
What was it, sorry?
Physician recruitment money. was
Yeah,
about
I thought it was,
16,000 back,
yeah. Physician recruitment
Yes.
money that came back from the hospital.
All right, thank
They-
you.
They disbanded it, eh?
So last, when they dissolved it, they sent us back a check for just over 16,000 long. And
Okay,
it just got, that's what we need. You're right.
We can maybe take that and put it out.
well,
towards
that's
the-
where I was going with that after, yeah.
I think there's another ask before this meeting's over.
Yeah, there is. We got a couple of them.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for Jennifer? We're a quiet bunch today. Thank you.
Lots of hard work, Jennifer, and I know how many hours you put into this, so thank you.
Yeah, a lot of work. Thanks,
Good job.
Jen.
I should have another one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so this is the reserve transfer. So we propose this resolution each year as part of our year-end procedures in preparation for the annual audit. In general, most of the reserve transfers have already been approved within the budget. But this is a more exacting number after things have been spent, what our total numbers were. Two that weren't in there was our recreation committee reserve transfers. And that's based upon their revenues, and we transfer at the end of each year through to their reserve from any revenues incurred. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions there.
Any questions on reserve? No?
I guess I
Okay,
have
go ahead.
one, just because I don't understand, and I know maybe one day I will, but, you have the recommendations, up on the first, and it said there's 100,000 basically from general reserves. Is that, it's from general reserves, so where is that money, where did that money end up?
So that your breakdown is on your next page. So you'll see
So it
under
went
general government.
to, it went to pay off these certain things?
There are budget, as part of our budget, with certain items were budgeted through the reserve, the balance of our software.
Right,
That was to come out of reserves. The strategic planning, there was a resolution for that to come out of reserves. So that's where those numbers have come from.
Okay, anything else? Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Keep up the good work, eh?
And I could maybe just make a little mention to the bylaw that's coming up. There was no staff report attached with it, but it's the interim tax levy bylaw. So again, this is an annual bylaw that we have to pass in order to proceed with our May and March billings.
That go without, eh?
And just for those that maybe need clarification, the interim tax bill is simply 50% of what was levied last year. So if your tax bill was $500 last year, this year it'll be $250, split into 2 installments. Any tax changes occur on our final tax installment. So that's when any changes that will happen as a result of budget will be noticed.
Thank you again.
yeah, for now.
I just gonna add one little note, when you notice the transfer to the 2024 reserve for the recreation in Madawaska, I think that includes a lot of the funeral lunch money. And it's becoming quite an onerous duty that the recreation committee took it on when the church groups folded, so because there was nobody to do it. So the recreation committee decided to take it on, but it's become quite onerous. There's more and more people passing away, and, you know, it seems almost a weekly thing that,
Yeah, they're volunteering their time, getting it all ready.
yeah.
Yeah.
But people are very good, like they don't charge a fee for it, but people donate money.
Yeah.
And it goes back into kitchen supplies, and sometimes they need product like pickles or things like that, that people, they just go to the store and buy it. Or trays, like vegetable trays or fruit trays and that, but I just want council to be aware that it's become quite onerous. So I don't know how long a group of volunteers are going to.
Be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the volunteers themselves are getting much older as well, aren't they?
Absolutely, I was just gonna add that, it's the same as the volunteer fire department, everybody's getting older.
Yeah.
You know, and
And
the
we've done
young
it a long
people,
time.
like 20, 30 years old, they don't seem to be too willing to give up their personal time. You know, that attitude has gotta change, or a lot of these, like, it's in everything in small communities, it's run by the volunteers.
Yeah.
And I'm very much
Tired.
afraid for the future.
Yeah, tired. Yeah. Thanks. Okay, Tracy.
Okay, so this is a shorewood allowance sale. The resolution was passed back in May for me to proceed with the sale of the shorewood allowance, and now we're at the point where we can pass the bylaw to sell the land. So that's just a little update with the bylaw that'll be coming shortly. Any questions on this one?
Any questions for
Standard.
Tracy on the bylaw? The action bylaw will be coming with the
It's
word.
very straightforward.
Yeah, very good.
Well, it is now, yeah.
Yeah, it is now. Okay,
So I can just move right into the Abyago Lake one.
yeah.
We received, Councillor Sydock actually got this, and her and I've been chatting about it with Phil. Phil Morlock, the owner of Hay Lake Lodge, and he's also the chair of the Parliamentary Outdoors Caucus Association. So he's on a lot of this stuff that's happening with the lakes and such. And it brought to our attention that the MOECC has did a report, we received a report on how to protect the whitefish in Abyago Lake. There's different recommendations throughout the report. The one that stands out the most is gonna affect us the most is the horsepower restriction that that they have recommended get put on Abianco. So with that being said, he has sent, well, the information's in there, his emails are in there, what he sent. He feels it's gonna affect the businesses in the community, which, you know, I know personally, if I go downtown, the opening day of Lake Trout, there's the boats there. If I go to Abiango, I see lots of locals there and lots of big boats there. So it may have an effect on our businesses in the area. And not only that, it's going to affect our local anglers. We have 2 lakes that we can use with big boats. This one and Abiango. Other than that, we're out of the park.
Hey, Lake.
But that's not in the park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Part of it was.
No. So he has had conversations with the minister and with John Yakubatsky in that he's requested that as a council, we send a letter to and do that survey that's online to I think the 16th of February, 15th of February, and express our concerns of the fact of putting this power on that lake. Sure. So what he's asking is if council would authorize us to write a letter stating.
Well, I think that this council should consider not only sending a very strong letter, it should go right to the premier. It should go to the other municipal councils around us. Because it affects us directly, but it also affects people that come up from Barry's Bay, you know, from far away, as probably maybe, they come up here to fish in Abiango.
Belleville.
And Belleville and all these areas, so we should have a link or a way to get the other council members, the other townships, online with this or in support of this, so that would be my recommendation to council, that we need to follow up really quickly on the council column, so.
I think maybe, people ought to be talking to the Harkness Fish Station too, because they need motorized vessels to do some of their collection and their stuff.
But
as
they
well.
would get an exemption.
They would get an exemption.
Yeah.
What about the water taxis that take out the canoes? and the
See, what's
people?
happening is they're
Do they
worried
get-
about, me going down and going on on Lake Ontario and then bringing, it's invasive species that they're worried about. They already have a washing station at Costello.
Yes.
Costello now. And they're saying that canoes and kayaks, could bring in invasive species, but there's no restriction on any of those. So it seems like there's a bit of a target against the anglers that drive the bigger boats.
Yeah.
They said that, and I Googled, I don't know if Google's always true, but I Googled where these whitefish are and this particular species, and they're in all the Great Lakes. Well, what's in all the Great Lakes, invasive species. So they can thrive, obviously they're thriving in these big waters with the invasive species.
Yeah, but they would do
But
an exemption kind of.
They would totally do an exemption because those boats aren't going off the lake. They're staying on the lake.
Yeah.
All right, fair comment.
But I think also, yeah, to that point though, I think, I mean, Phil Morlock would know this better than anybody, but this should also go to the anglers and hunters, and they're in Peterborough.
Oh, I'm sure he's told them, yeah.
There
I
is,
also spoke to
there's
Robert
a
Kravchuk about it as
safety
well.
element too.
And he had said that, kind of knew that there was something that had been spoken about in the past, but he didn't know it had come back up again. I've let Saba know as well, just to update them as well to see, because it could may affect them as well, so I don't know, I haven't heard. anything
Certainly
back.
it's gonna affect tourism in a sense that those people won't be coming, they'll go elsewhere.
Going to really affect us. And our local people are going to be the
And
ones that
local.
suffer,
Yeah.
and you know, we get forgotten here.
Right.
And I think it's time that we kind of.
And I
do
think
something
that
else.
they listen to the naturalist and the canoers
Yeah.
because I'm up there a lot and, you know,
Oh, yeah.
bigger boats are just frowned upon.
Yeah.
Because they're
Yeah.
not
They
quiet.
like them when they need help.
That's right.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, I haven't been in Canada in this area for very long, but in that time, there's been at least 2 overturned canoes and accidents where search and rescue have had to go out and various, those search and rescue boats are coming in from outside.
Yeah.
You know,
They're
I
not
had
exemption.
friends they pulled the canoe out of the lake and they were lucky that he was there with the big boat.
With
Right
the,
To
there.
get them
with the
down
waves.
and it was
Yeah.
cold.
So
Yeah.
can we do a resolution to support this? We can do resolution to
We
support
didn't put
this.
we could just do it as a recommendation through the minutes, Brent.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly can send a letter off on behalf of the township to the minister, to the premier, to our MPP, to the anglers and hunters. We've got a very limited time on this one.
Yeah,
Obviously, the environmental registry is only open till the 15th on it.
Yeah.
So we'll have to get our comments into them in the appropriate format. But then we can also circulate that letter encouraging those other agencies to do likewise.
And other municipalities in the area?
We certainly can send it around to some of the local municipalities quickly enough as well.
is that okay?
If we're to believe everything that Mr. Morlock says in this letter, the studies don't really seem to support that the whitefish are in danger because of the spiny water flea. In fact, they eat the spiny water fleas. And that reducing the boats or reducing
The horsepower?
the horsepower would have anything positive to do with the whitefish population.
Who knows, it's really hard to comprehend some of these things, to be honest.
Like the biggest whitefish, not the biggest whitefish, the biggest fishery for whitefish that I can think of in Ontario is Lake Simcoe. And I think there's spiny water fleas there too, and there always has been, or has been for a long time, and there's certainly large boats there.
Yeah. No, thanks for those comments, yeah, okay, anyways, we're gonna do a letter and we're gonna follow up.
We'll follow up, we'll
Thank
do on it,
you.
yeah.
Thank you. Anything else, there, Chris, you have something else?
I think that's it for me, yeah.
Okay. That's what I got here. Where am I? Just gotta go back to my agenda. Is that all the staff reports?
There's just, the Murchison Ohio Recreation Committee.
Okay, oh, sorry, okay. Recreation Committee, Council Floyd?
I don't think there's anything here that we haven't already discussed.
Okay. Page 62?
The Recreation Committee has asked for a few things that I passed on to Adam Zebart, and some of the tasks are already done. They asked for more shelving in the display case in the lobby. I see that it's already in place. Some of the other things, I kind of think I reported to council before, they were looking for a electrical outlet in the ceiling. We've looked into that, the feasibility and the cost. And the other one was an electronic signboard, which I think I talked to Brian about outside.
Okay,
I think he's looking into the cost of that too. So
thank you. I know that the Valentine dance plan, is on the 17th in Cloyd Coolers, and a band are playing country and western there. So he's a local, he's born and raised in our area and is actually doing quite well as a country artist.
last year that event was free. So
Anyway, any questions or comments on that?
I think a shout out to, Howard and Brenda Drew for what they're doing with the rink. Without any Zamboni, they're managing to put beautiful surface together on that rink, that outdoor rink, and that is just time and dedication. So I think a shout out of thanks to them is needed.
speaking about outdoor rinks, I think we have to be very cognizant of the fact that this week we'll probably lose all the ice again.
Yeah,
The city of Sudbury just pulled all their maintenance of outdoor rinks yesterday. They're not gonna maintain them anymore this year.
no way. They don't know what, the weather is so iffy.
It's supposed to be +7 and rain on Friday, so.
Yeah,
But then we go back into the freezer, so.
Yeah, but there's plus temperatures for like 5 days in a row.
So when do we make the decision? When is enough? When do we stop? And who makes that call?
I think we've dedicated a day festival of outdoor rinks. I think we need to wait at least till then before we pull the plug.
I think the plug's gonna be pulled on us by the end of this weekend. Whether we like it or not.
Yeah,
It's called to be in Toronto 10 on Friday.
I think they're calling for 7 here.
So,
And there's something else that we could, when it comes a time when the ice does get to a point where it's, and I know there was, a couple weeks ago where we had to close the actual outdoor rinks, but, they wanted to keep the buildings open, so indoor activities could be done, and I just want to know what council's thought is in on doing that. Keeping the buildings open when the rinks are closed.
I don't have any problem with that, if it keeps kids off the street and gives them something to do.
There were a few kids playing there last night, indoors, games,
They did shut the rink down, right?
yeah.
The ice, sorry.
And this is just during the season when
Yes.
yeah.
the rink is.
So when we officially close the ice, then that closes the building too, I assume.
So the question is it as soon as the ice is done, or do we keep it open till after the
Like
25th?
we put ice, I think we're on our third set of ice now this year. Do we do it a fourth time?
It's a lot of work to get it back up again. And we're gonna need some good nighttime temperatures. The sun's starting to, come out a little more frequently, so that melts the ice even when you're cold, right? Even when you're at that 0 point.
And yeah, in some places, frost is now coming out, in some places.
Do they keep a tally on how many kids show up between
They
6?
do in Madawaska.
Do they?
They have a book that
Like a
they
tip
put
sheet?
on.
That's a good idea.
I think we have to keep it till the 24th. Otherwise, we've got egg on our face with the festival, and that would be a sin.
Yeah.
So I think we keep it at least till then.
Well, I think 3 of the last 5 years, the festival of rinks has been canceled because of the inclement weather. So,
Yeah,
whoever designated the end of February for a festival of outdoor rinks,
We're watching climate change?
they probably have artificial ice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that could be, yeah. Well, that's probably true. Yeah,
Well, we're hoping for the best, so.
yeah.
hopefully
Well, I'll
we
keep
have
our
some-
fingers crossed.
Mhm.
We have another meeting on the 28th of February, so we can always discuss that again.
Be too late by
I
then.
guess.
Well, if we keep it to 24th.
Now, nighttime temperatures, actually, if you're looking quickly at the weather network, after Saturday is to go down to -4 again.
Yeah,
And when we get into next week, we're double digit
Yeah.
negative temperatures right through then until the 21st.
yeah.
And
we're
even,
negative during the day as well.
and even the daytime temperatures by Wednesday are going back to -8. Weatherman can't tell us what the weather's doing tomorrow, but if he can tell us 2 weeks from now, that's what he's saying it's happening.
Well, there's no doubt it's gonna be cold for a couple of weeks again, right? The only point is, do we put ice on for the 4th time?
With March right around the corner.
And what's the expense of that? Just out of curiosity.
It's ours,
No.
it's ours and
It's
the people
hours
out
for
there.
workers.
Probably $400 a day. per rink.
Other townships have volunteers to run their rinks.
We already have problems.
I know.
We can't get paid people, let alone volunteer.
But it would be nice, but
My husband used to help shovel before they could play hockey, but that was back in,
back in the day,
That
when we
day.
all wanted to play hockey, we had to get out and shovel, right? I don't know.
Yeah, my question is, when is enough, right? But obviously we have the festival into our rinks, so I support that. Maybe we should continue on with the ice for now.
Yeah.
And maybe the committee for next year for future references, that maybe bump it up.
Well, I
If
think
you
we,
look back at this year, really and truly, you wouldn't have had it. Because there wasn't enough snow, there wasn't enough ice, so,
Mhm.
you know, it was hit and miss,
Yeah.
even then. If this is the third time we put ice on,
I believe the city of Sault Ste. Marie had a winter festival last weekend. For the very first time, never had any snow on the ground for the winter festival.
Some of the northern Ontario ice roads are already closed.
Yeah, I know.
yes.
really?
So
The
you figure,
Rideau opened, I think, one Sunday for about 2 hours and then they pulled everyone off.
so you figure between the two rinks to get the ice back after
I
we
think
have
so.
the melt, it'll be $1,000
A
It's
day.
staff costs, the staff costs.
a day. What it
No,
takes to
not a
bring the ice
day.
back up, and more than that.
Well,
It'll-
a couple of weeks ago, we were paying 18 hours to get ice in one day. Figured out.
Tracy? Sure, no,
I'm just listening to Joe.
18 hours, so what would 18 hours on the rink cost?
$20 an hour, out there.
Yeah, right.
20 hours,
A
20.
little better than that, but yeah, probably about $400.
I think Joe was getting on when he said that.
Well, we've budgeted for that, have we
I think
not?
we're committed, so,
We've budgeted.
right.
I think we have budgeted.
Yeah,
and
we've
I
got it
think-
in the budget.
I also think we sort of
Well,
owe it to
we-
the rink attendants as well to keep going for,
Yeah.
they were relying on that as employment for a few months at least.
The hours of operation are budgeted, although the budgets aren't set by council yet for this year.
Yeah. But we, in essence, we did budget.
Open it next week and keep it closed next month. Might be the choice.
Yeah.
We spend $12,000 on ice for 3 weeks, or do we give $12,000 to the hospital?
Yeah. Tough choices, eh?
It is.
Yeah.
But no more than that one.
Okay. Okay, well, we think we'll just kind of wait and see here. Okay, anything else on staff report?
Well,
Okay,
there's just that community safety wellbeing meeting minutes that was in there, just so council is aware of the ongoing work that's been going on in the plan for the wellness day, that's May
that's on
4th.
May 4th, they're
Yeah.
asking everyone to
More
support it.
information will come out about that as it,
Star Wars.
it's in the newsletter.
Yeah.
Too, for that day.
I didn't realize that there was this committee. Is that part of the community wellness plan that
Yes.
was put
Yes.
out?
Yes, we're kind of coordinating and spearheading all of that. We actually have an updated plan that'll be coming to council at their next council meeting.
And Ethel sits on that, right?
Yeah, we had a meeting last week. We had a teleconference where they were talking about the May 4th, trying to get people out to support it and booths and things like that.
Is that through the health unit?
No,
Because I sat on it too, but I sat out on January 30th, is that,
no, it's not for the health unit.
okay.
Was
that
there
must be
some
through
come
the
through to
committee?
us, they asked if us to sit on those committees?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Myrna did, yes. She was open to, anyone that wanted to sit on any of the committees, because extra
I
bodies
think
are
it
always
came to
helpful.
everybody. I think it went to council
Don't
too, didn't
remember
it?
seeing anything, but I just remember that we did the community wellness
Yeah,
plan with
Yeah.
the rest of the
Yeah.
townships.
if any council member wants to sit on any of these, please come forward.
Yes, Myrna will be
If
more.
you're
than happy to have your
interested,
name.
yeah, there's,
That's the weekend we leave for Sudbury, Phenom.
Is it?
Yep.
It's also Star Wars Day. I don't know why anybody would.
Oh, me.
Oh,
I hate.
okay, I'm moving right along here, Councilor Pijani.
yes, while we're on that subject, this is gonna be part of discussion, with councilor reports, but anyhow, Eganville and district seniors, okay, have just received money for the program of the Age Well initiative.
What's that? What was the name of it?
Age well.
Age Well,
Age
okay,
Well initiative,
okay.
okay, they just received, although I had numbers of that.
I'm assuming that's probably Eganville and Area Senior Needs Association, which is a nonprofit corporation within the community. I'm familiar with them.
Exactly, okay, now, Barry's Bay and Area Home Support is part of this.
Of
okay,
Eganville's?
Of this grant that
Okay.
Eganville had just gotten, okay? Are we part of this?
Yeah, that's the one that went out, right?
Yes.
With Bill Smith.
Just recently.
No,
Just like-
yeah, no, it's a separate, our stuff we're doing with Killaloo, I think Barry's Bay must have teamed up, I guess, with the seniors somehow, the two senior groups teamed up. To my knowledge, the seniors group was not part of that. We did make application for age-friendly ourselves, but we didn't get notification of being successful.
Was
Yeah.
that the
And
funding
we
that
are-
Bill Smith?
No, that's a different program.
Okay.
If Barry's-based seniors are
That's-
included with that,
Mhm.
then we're part of their unit. They reach out to us here.
Okay.
The home support reaches out to us here in South Algonquin.
Okay, because we weren't even mentioned in this press release.
Was it Barry's
Not
Bay
familiar with
home
what funding they
support?
got.
Yes, it was. So, this was released through, I can't remember what news feed it was, but anyhow, the name of the program is the, Age Well Initiative is what it is. And they applied for this grant and they got close to $750,000.
Well, we can
Okay.
follow up, we should contact the chair of the health unit, because she's member of home support,
Patsy.
Joanne.
Joanne King will know whether or not
Joanne King would know.
money has
And
come to
Barry's
her.
Bay and Area Home Support
Yeah.
is part of that group. So I thought that we were.
Well, we might.
We are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
They
no,
serve us.
we are most
Has anybody
definitely.
heard anything of?
I haven't heard anything about the grant, we have heard, but Barry's Bay Home Support
Mhm.
does do things in South Algonquin, yes.
Okay.
They do the meals, were doing the meals for the seniors.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the person that was doing the meals went on, not unfortunately, she was on leave, and I think she's back now. So my understanding was the Meals on Wheels were going to start up again,
Good.
because she was off. She's back, and her husband's gone on during leave,
And I think part of this process as well is, wellness checks
yeah.
as well.
The wellness checks are done through the paramedics.
They do that still voluntarily, okay.
So the wellness checks for seniors are done, as I understand, through the paramedics, which is out of social services in North Bay. The personnel do it,
And I do know that they were out doing those
yeah,
when the call came out for Madawaska and the ambulance was right there.
yeah.
But she was out doing her house calls and her wellness checks. That's how she was able to respond so quickly.
Yeah.
To the overdose.
Well, we'll check, yeah, no, good. We'll check into it, Sean. Okay.
Thank you.
We'll check into that. Okay, among council reports. Who wants to go first?
I will,
Joan?
you know me, I always.
Councillor
like to talk.
Kuyak, thank you.
So I just wanted to, touch base and say we had a great, time down at Roma and, came back with all kinds of good things. One in particular that I wanted to talk about was on, economic development, the one session that Lori and I, sat in on. And it was from Prince Edward County. I do have the website I can share, but it definitely is, or was set up as a community-based, not only community members, municipal, but county foundation as well. They looked at asset-based community development instead of looking at what would you like to see? It was like, what do we have and what do we do well? And then try to work on that. So it was more of a positive spin. Again, I looked in hoping that I had slides that they shared. They did not put that, but I do have the website and I do have the name of the person that if anybody's interested to look into it further, I can share that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councillor Coyne, anything else? Councillor Collins?
Obviously, I attended Roma as well. And to get as much knowledge out of Roma as possible, I went to different presentations than other councillors. One in particular was a zone meeting, and we are zone 9, South Algonquin. And I raised the fact that we are basically being ignored down in our far little corner. And the chair of zone 9 has reached out to me and wants a list of the things that we think should be happening through the zone 9 link. And obviously I need to speak with you, Mayor LaValle, and you, Mr. Martin, about what we can approach the Zone 9 chair to levy onto the zoning for support for Zone 9. And the other interesting one was Uber were at one of the trade booths. And I spoke to the Uber organisation about the fact that we do not have Uber drivers here, and we do not seem to encourage Uber to come here. So people have no way of calling an Uber. We have no cab companies, we have no taxis, etc. And basically they've said to me, if we could encourage people to sign on to become Uber drivers within this area, they will incentivize those Uber drivers. And by that, they're saying basically less of the fare goes to the Uber organisation if we can encourage them from within South Algonquin to sign up to become Uber drivers. And I just wondered if we ought to be advertising the fact that Uber are looking for drivers in this area.
It's interesting.
Lots of other discussions with electrical and the electrical safety and MPAC and various other things, but they were the two things that stuck out in my mind as being quite useful. And of course, are you going to speak about our presentation?
You can speak about it, go ahead, because you know.
Oh,
go ahead.
Okay, so we were able to, at the end of Roma, which was a bit of a pain, everyone else went home around midday-ish. We had to hang around till almost 2 o'clock to be seen by the Parliamentary Minister for Long-Term Health, and him and a group of about 12 other people on the
I know, it was
panel.
daunting.
It was a little bit daunting. We thought there was only going to be a couple, but there were about 12 other people that listened and had reviewed our application to be removed from supporting and the running of Castlehome in North Bay. And they saw the sense of what we were asking. And yet again, they've turned around and told us they will take it away and present it to the minister, and sense and sensibility should reign. I do not know if we've had any feedback since then. I doubt it.
No.
But we did our bit and we appeared to be very well received. But that's as far as we can do with that. We can't go much higher than the parliamentary assistant to the minister. And Mayor Valley presented what we had, and a couple of us put a little bit extra in there, and we had support from the CEO of Castlehome himself, attended along with us, and said he agreed with everything and thought it was the most sensible thing in the world for us to not be any part of Castlehome and to send our funding elsewhere. So I think with his support, I think the minister or the parliamentary assistant listened a little bit closer. Let's hope we've done some good. That's about it.
Thank you. Councillor Sydow, do you have anything you want to add? No?
No, I just cooperate with these two councillors.
Okay, any other council members of Councillor Floyd, anything you want to bring up?
I don't think so. I already spoke to a few little items at the Recreation Committee. Brian Martin asked me if our interest in that walking trail thing was just using a walking trail on Crown land, or us having ownership type, whether it's land use permit or what. And I stated that I think we should have control, because the Crown land camping is a bit of a problem in that area. And if we don't have it under a permit or a memorandum of understanding, we have no teeth to stop it.
And just to kind of follow up, I've had conversations with the minister on that particular property. That property, I'm assuming at one point was owned by Hydro One, and it was acquired back by the province. And actually the entire property encompasses a portion of our current boat launch. M&R is actually not in a position to offer anything more than an MOU on that property, but then we don't have care and control of what happens. So what they've suggested is that we reach out to Infrastructure Ontario to talk about the potential of lease or acquisition of property to give us full control of it. Because M&R can't give us the control that we were looking for. So since then, Joe, I've reached out to IO in hopes that IO will get back to me and give me what's this process look like and how will this turn out?
I hope it works a little faster than our dump purchase.
Yeah.
I did actually speak to Participation and a couple of health orientated groups as well, and they said once we've got the agreement to actually have that pathway and that walkway there, they are in a position to offer us a little bit of money towards the upkeep of it, maybe putting some exercise equipment along the way, marking it out, putting some signage, etc. There is a little bit of money available once we have it agreed. So it sounds very positive, but unfortunately, like most things, heels are being dragged.
Councillor Pizarro, anything you want to add?
Question, it's not more than, stating anything else, getting back to your trails, with the RED program, we could get some money possibly from that or from another program, hopefully. I have a question and I'm just wondering, because this came up in conversation, I was at the works yard in Madawaska. And it's still regarding that hydro issue at the works yard. And for us not being able to fuel our equipment at the works yard, we're spending a lot of money.
Unfortunately, we've been in contact with Hydro. Stephen's been in contact with one of the top people at Hydro on this file on a weekly basis. And it seems they try this, they try that. Right now, the last correspondence communication I have from Stephen was last week, late last week, or early this week. Give me 1 second. So they've completed a balancing study for the feeders leaving the station, and they've issued and have issued that work be completed as soon as possible. They had some testing done. He's still awaiting the report from the company that completed the work. It's expected early next week, so this would be this week. Once he has the report and the phase balance has been completed, he'll be asking for a test on site to see what impact that has at the yard. And once the report's been reviewed and next steps have been determined, he'll get back to us and let us know. So that was as of the 31st, so a week ago today.
Because this has been ongoing for quite some time now.
Since last spring. And unfortunately, the issue is a hydro issue, and we can only move Hydro's ball down the court so fast. They've tried a number of things, including, I think they put about 60 or 80 grounding rods in.
Yeah, it hasn't helped.
At one point, they thought there was an issue on the feeder that runs between the yard and the sand shed, so they did some testing there. They've got, I think the issues are back at from the sounds of it, they're back at the transformer yard, and that is off our property, so they've got to fix their problem for us to have our problem resolved. But I agree, it's costing us money to have to. And it's also fortunately, it's been a good winter. So operationally, we haven't had guys out very often at 3 in the morning looking at fuel. Because last I checked, there's not too many places other than our own yard to get fuel in the middle of the night.
Should we be looking for compensation with regards to retail rate versus wholesale rate for fuel from Hydro One?
We can certainly go fight that fight. I don't know how successful we will be.
Well, that's where I was going with this. Thank you, Councillor Collins, because for the last almost a year, 12 months, right, we've been paying the gas station their rate for diesel and
Yeah.
fuel.
I'm sure the gas station appreciates it.
Oh, I'm sure they do. You know, we're contributing to local businesses, but oh my God.
It is possible that it's cheaper at the gas station than it is delivered to the yard.
Yeah, you don't know.
I can buy it cheaper at the gas station than I can have it delivered to my place. Now, the volume is a little different. Maybe you get a better price, but
And because we haven't put any fuel in there for quite some time, so I don't even know what our price would have been this year to be able to, I'd have to contact the supplier to find out what the rack rates for being charged for fuel would have been on a month-to-month basis based on our volumes this year.
this winter, the price has been a lot more stable, but last winter it changed daily.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just wondering where you were with that and where we're gonna go with that.
Yeah, no,
Has anybody thought about maybe moving those fuel tanks?
I was gonna say.
unfortunately, it's property, so moving the tanks becomes a problem because you need property to put them on. And it's a secure property yard, right? So there's a lot of municipalities that have gotten out of storage of the fuel altogether. Barry's Bay does absolutely none. They buy all the fuel stations.
Good, thank
But
you.
maybe they've negotiated a trade rate with those fuel stations.
That is possible. I think what they did was they went out to a tender to the local fuel stations, and the fuel stations gave them a price that may or may not be the published price on the wall for everybody else.
That's what I was
Just in the
considering.
past, even the.
And actually,
yes.
just as a follow-up, I just realized this morning, Stephen actually, quarter after 7, sent Hydro an email. Just following up on your email regarding next steps Hydro will take regarding the issue at the yard so that we can continue using our fuel tanks. Your email below last Wednesday mentioned Hydro would be scheduling crews. When are you coming to, when are you, the guy's going to be scheduled, and when have you received the report yet? And please provide us with an update. So that was at 7:15 this morning. Stephen sent that out to Hydro. So he's been very, very diligent on every single week. He's following up on that. And he's not letting it die. The problem is we're at the mercy of others to get the problem solved.
Getting back to Madawaska Valley, getting their fuel from, local fuel.
Stations, yeah.
Some of them have card locks, right?
Possibly, yeah, I don't know, I don't fuel in Barry's Bay, but you're right. That is a common thing now where a lot of fuel stations will have card locks, so it's pretty easy to get fuel at whatever time of the day or night you might need it, right?
I was gonna say, the EMS does that down there.
Mhm.
They've done it for years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they do, and I think the Shell station on Highway 62, I believe that they did that for their diesel fuel, for their fuel.
Yeah.
The diesel fuel. Because I noticed the price of diesel right now, I am paying $1.65 a liter, and in town it's $2 a liter, for $1.99. So that's caught my eye. That's.
It's $1.45 by 90.
We say it was $1.39 when I worked, because he's like, oh, and then I was like, oh, no, that's.
Yeah.
Diesel versus
Yeah.
regular.
134 for gas in Empire this morning, 165 for diesel.
All over the place, right?
Anything else, Councillor Bishop?
Oh, I could talk for hours.
I know.
That's okay.
Thank you. No, that's fine. Councillor Rodney? Yeah. Okay. I'll just be quick then too, moving us along. I too attended Roma, went to a few of the sessions, but focused mostly on doing the presentation on behalf of getting out of council home. But a couple of things I just, I went like DSAB, Digital Service Board, to meet with the minister, Cassandra. And their presentation on it was about trying to get funding to have more units for people, RSI, guaranteed, not guaranteed, I've lost the acronym now, but for low housing basically in the district. So the emphasis for me was not North Bay, but the district. So I kind of went off topic, at that presentation with the minister and said that I was, in support of these housing, but wanted to bring to his attention the whole issue of South Algonquin and where we are, the lack of housing that we have. So you shouldn't, you take an opportunity when you get it. Don't know whether he really listened or not because the presentation was done. But I just wanted to let members of council know that, that I did take that opportunity when we met with Minister Cassandra. With respect to as the other councils have talked about, the presentation we did, same presentation as we did last year on Castle Home. Last year we had the support of the mayor of North Bay. We still have that support. We just couldn't get to that meeting. Yes, our King Chair of Castle Home did support us again. We've been assured that this is going to happen, and it's a matter of the minister signing. I had a call from our MPP, John Yakubuski, before he went to the meeting, say he couldn't make the meeting, but he was in full support of this, and would do what he could to try to move it. So I think we've got all the movers and shakers that we can on this, but I was talking to Brian yesterday, and I think that we'll give them till the 1st of March and we'll start phoning. There was a ministers forum on which we all sat in on. Keeping in mind, when you get to if you can get to the mic to ask a question, my assessment of that is they kind of had some idea what questions might be coming. But there was a minister's reception after that, and we stayed back and I went through the whole crowd, trying to find the minister, Stan Chu. I thought if we could find him in that crowd, maybe we'll get a couple minutes with him. Unfortunately, he was nowhere to be found in the minister's reception. And I cased that joint pretty well, so. And so anyways, that didn't happen. However, I do think, we have to put some of our faith again in the parliamentary assistant. I think he's very sincere, and, with what we thought, there was a change in ministers. And with the change in ministers, it's all this trying to get everyone up to speed. So I think that the onus is going to be on us now to try to keep moving this, and I committed at that table that we would bring members of our council down to Toronto to meet with the minister if he so wants us to do that and to sign this off. So I think that we had people there that were listening. And we had, I think, a commitment that this may happen, so we'll keep our fingers crossed on that one. I did meet the chair of the Ontario Aboriginal Housing Corporation, and Jason Marchand was his name, and talking to him about some of the homes here in Whitney, and he seemed to be familiar with Whitney, Madawaska. So it was nice to make that connection. One of the sessions that I sat in on was the intimate partner violence one. And heard, firsthand about what happens with intimate partner violence, I should say. Trying to give you a snapshot of things. I think that I didn't attend as many sessions as the other 3 councillors did, but I have to say that my focus was on Minister Cassandra and on doing the presentation on behalf of on Castle Home, and trying to meet up with some of these speakers. On just a bit on mothers, I'm going to talk a bit about DSAP, District Social Service Board. We are in the process now of doing the hiring of the new CEO. We had 8 applicants, 8 people that we're going to be interviewing. They did a written submission, and after that, I guess, which is quite common and happening, is 4 people decided they didn't want to go any further. So when council's finished today, I'll be going up to North Bay. We'll be doing the interviews tomorrow and Friday for a new CEO. At the last board meeting, I was elected as chair of the Community Social Services Committee. I think that's an asset for us. I think it kind of puts our foot in the door more in terms of letting them know that South Algonquin is here and we're going to be here and we're not going anywhere. So I think I've covered it. Oh, right. Yes, the one thing that I wasn't given to us at the meeting, but after I came back from the meeting, the new CEO, acting CEO, puts out a report every Friday. And I think I've shared that with members of council. I'm trying to share it, yeah. But the person that's on the housing, was on the housing file, that was here, Donna Mayer, who did a presentation. I got this email saying, a report that said she was gone.
Jeez,
That's a loss for us.
it is.
So I don't know the ins and outs of any, it was just a report, said she resigned and she's gone. So there's an acting person in there who I do not know. So I think we gotta start this work again. That's all I can report to you about it, because I don't have, we may find an answer out today. Because the chair of the board, is also on the interview committee tomorrow. I may find, I guess it really doesn't matter what happened, I just hope everything is fine, but we don't have her, and that was a good ally for us. Is there any, I think I've discussed everything pretty much.
So on exactly what you were saying, the gentleman that was the chair for Zone 9 was a gentleman called Mark Wilson. And I reached out to him and I got an answer back saying, basically, he enjoyed the conference, blah, 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 blah. And he was wondering if a Zoom meeting could be put together with some key people to be clear on the issues we have with DSAB and housing. And he is a councillor up at Temiskaming Shores, but he is the Roma Zone 9 director. And I don't know if there's any mileage in getting leverage with his support.
Well, I think.
What do you think about that?
I think that, I think we've come a long ways with DSAB. I know that we have issues. I think part of it is on our own education, and I think we have to start with DSAB again to bring the new CEO down here and Mark King, the chair, to talk about all the things we feel, but also to talk about all the things that DSAP supplies and does in this township. I agree with you, we have more work to do, but I think I'd like to do that before we would engage the zoning director to say, go back for us. I think we need to do our own in-house
That's why I've
survey
asked, yeah.
first. That's my view of that. I mean, it's really nice that the zone 9 person is going to go to bat for us, but I think we have to do our own education first. I don't know whether council's comfortable with that or not. And that'll happen. I mean, one of the questions I want to ask this new CEO, and it's going to be the new CEO, is what community outreach are they going to do? What's their plan for community outreach? I don't want somebody that's going to sit in an office in North Bay, or sit at home and run DSAP from home. I don't want that.
I think DSAB are sitting on a very nice piece of property, very central to what we consider downtown Whitney, i.e. the school playing fields. And they are sitting on probably the only piece of property that would make a good place for small 1-unit, 2-unit homes. If you think about anywhere else, it's too far for a walking perspective to get to the grocery store, to get to the pharmacy, the doctors, but that's central location. And DSAB are sitting on that property. And I think we need to say either release it to us and we'll do something with it, or please use this property to put up some homes that could benefit South Algonquin.
And anything that we talk about right now, they're going to say, okay, we're waiting for the report on the housing survey, which is supposed to come out near the end of February. So I think we should kind of see what that report's going to say, and go from there.
Is that still charted?
Yes,
With Donna not being there, it was
they're
still.
supposed to, no, it's supposed to come out before the end of February. Okay, any questions from council? Okay, I'm going to go to business arising from the minutes. Is there any business that anyone wants to discuss?
The cards for the waste. Do we have them? Are they going out with the tax?
We have
bills?
them, yes.
And is there a letter explaining to everybody with that?
Yeah.
Yes, staff have got that all prepared to go out with the tax bills. And
And
if
it's
anyone on
one-
council would like to see a preview of them, we can show you them before you leave.
So it's one card per household. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Be nice, maybe just to throw us the letter that you're going to attach with it.
Yeah, that's there, yeah, we got them.
Yeah.
They're already printed and folded and ready to go.
Wait, with this, get some for the
Yeah, we will, yeah.
You get some.
And to make everybody aware of what is about to happen, and we set a date to when these cards are gonna take effect.
Yeah, it's in that letter too.
It's in that letter.
And we've
as well.
talked to Stephen to give a bit of a grace, to the guys to give a bit of a grace period and stuff. I think April 1st, I think was the
April first,
start the enforcement.
is that the date, okay. Yeah,
make
so
it the
maybe
second.
Facebook
Fool's
post,
Day.
on our webpage, right?
Is that right?
A post on Facebook, post,
Yeah, closer
on
to
our
the day.
web.
It's gone in the newsletter. It's,
And
we've
maybe
got
have signs at the,
talk to
dumps,
Stephen where we can put them.
And the interim tax bill goes out at the 1st of March?
Yes.
just so everybody's not going to vote.
Oh, it's gonna happen, but I think we've given them enough grace period with get them out March, start maybe in a few weeks. If it goes a little further, then that's okay, you know, but.
I think you're being optimistic.
It's going to have its hiccups, and there are gonna be calls to council saying, your dump attendant wouldn't let me drop my garbage. He knows me, but that's the complaints you're gonna get, because if they're gonna enforce it, they're gonna have to be strict on that and say, sorry, you're just not coming in without your card. So now you've gotta drive 10 miles home and come back to the dump again, and people are gonna be very upset. So just be prepared for the fallout that'll come with it.
Especially all the way from Mackenzie Lake.
Mhm.
You better not forget.
Okay,
Got the
any,
wrong truck.
Hey, even you, Councillor Pigeon, sorry, you got no card.
Yeah.
Good, you're doing your job.
Leave it in your truck.
Okay, so
They
April
have to
first
be out
is
of
the
the
step.
I don't know that, I can't remember the exact date, but I think it is in that's on that.
I think we need to decide as council, if people on their phone have taken a photograph of that card, will we accept it, yeah or nay?
well, we should accept everything else. I mean, it's a good question, but I think that, why wouldn't we? I mean, I couldn't even get my car insurance in the mail. I have to put it on
Yes.
and they have to accept it, so, I don't know. Do we want, what's council feeling on it?
No one leaves home without their phone nowadays.
The trouble with that is you can send that to 10 of your
Yeah,
Yes,
friends,
friends.
yeah. But it has the name on it, does it not?
Yeah, they put their name and address on them, but that doesn't mean that I couldn't be a tenant to Joe's property.
Yeah.
And Joe sent it to me.
Well, it's cool. I mean, that kind of thing's gonna happen.
Well, no, I think we should stick with the physical aspect, the physical card.
Okay, I tend to agree with you.
Fair question.
I tend to agree with you, but we need to make that decision.
That's an important question, because that allows us to make sure that our communication strategy to the community is, no, we will not accept them in any other form than the card that you've
And
been
the physical
delivered.
card.
with no exception. And that way, we're all on the same page, and when people call and you say, well, they wouldn't even take my photo, and you can say, well, that was a council decision, we made that decision.
Well, I think we'll have to look at the whole reassessing of this whole thing, if we're gonna have a big fallout coming April 1st. You know,
I certainly take your point about it being like more and more electronic proof of purchase or whatever is the norm, like, even hunting license,
gotta
fishing
print it
license,
offline.
they can all be electronic now.
Mhm.
I don't know.
But they can get online and they can check your hunting license or your fishing license.
Maybe, you know, if you accept the electronic proof, then you have to show your driver's license to prove that you are who you say you are. I don't know.
Yeah, the electronic proof with other form of ID is accepted as well, but
What have we started?
Yeah, need another attendant just to attract people coming in.
yeah.
Yeah, I
That's,
mean, geez,
You have to hire another attendant.
we have to, oh my goodness,
Give it a try.
oh my goodness. Yeah,
It's worked very well down at Barry's Bay, just with a physical part, so
yeah.
we just
Well, let's
need to
just
make
try it.
it, let's give it a go.
Berkshire Valley does the same thing, they get a
Just with a
physical
card,
card,
yeah.
and they're required to provide it to the attendant.
So let's just make it a point that maybe a year from its inaugural inception, that we review it to see there are gonna be hiccups.
I think we'll be reviewing it before then.
I think so.
I think we should say 6 months.
Okay,
I
this
think
month,
so,
okay,
yeah,
that
I
appears
think-
to be a
yeah,
review
we'll
of
be-
it, that way we can make improvement.
Yeah,
I think as we have operational issues that come up, that there's gonna be some maneuvering and there will be issues that'll come back to say, hey, how do you think we should handle this?
Is there a facility to purchase a second card if you wish? I mean, I may do that and just literally, we run two,
They're lost.
we run two vehicles and I would leave one in each vehicle. But if that's not the case, well, then it's just something we have to remember,
Yeah,
isn't
the
it?
only problem with 2 cars is that I could give them to my brother that's in PC and Highlands and he can come up
Yes.
and dump his garbage and say he's
Yes,
with 2 cars.
Yeah,
but you could do that with one.
I could do with one, but
and you can do the same thing as well too, take his card and do the same thing.
Yeah.
So-
I don't think we're going to have a lot of trouble with the full-time residents. I think the problem's gonna arise with the cottagers who get mailed a card and it's sitting on the cupboard in Pittsburgh and they're at Allen Lake.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but that's, then they come to the office here and they say, well,
Well, you go on Saturday morning, what do? Keep your garbage in the back of your truck
No, it's
until
gonna be in
Wednesday?
front of, it's gonna be in front of the waste management site.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going on to, is there any other unfinished business? If not, I'd like to move to correspondence and the action items.
The first 2 items in
Right.
action I've asked to bring forward to, and there are motions
Yeah,
on the table for support. First one is about the cemetery transfers.
right,
We don't have any yet, but the United Church in Whitney has already sold their church, so the question of the cemeteries is gonna come up. And the same thing with the United Church in Madawaska, they're exploring different avenues of doing exactly the same thing. So sooner, probably rather than later, we're going to be asked to accept transfer of ownership of cemeteries. So if we petition the government now to provide some funding for that,
Well, surely the church should be providing some money that goes with it, because when people have bought a plot of land to bury themselves, or their loved ones, the church has had that money, so some money should come along to the township if they're handing it over, surely.
I think in some cases the parish is declaring bankruptcy,
Yeah.
so there's no avenue there. And just giving you an example, I bought a cemetery plot in 1977, paid $35 for it. How much
Ah.
perpetual care can you get for that?
Not much.
Okay, I thought there was a lot more money changing
They are
hands
now.
than
They
that.
are
Oh,
now
okay.
300 for the ones at McCoy.
Yeah.
Well, that's again going.
And the
back.
other motion that I've asked to be on the table is the one about,
Greater
the
Sudbury?
terms of reference for Ministry of Labor for employer. Because
Oh, okay,
if
the
we have,
definition.
for example, if we had a contractor building a road for us and he caused damage on a property, normally they would sue the contractor, but they're saying that the township, being the primary contractor, is the one responsible, so, and then we have the deepest pockets.
Mhm.
Because all we gotta do is raise the taxes to get more money.
So you
it-
just want letters of support for these two?
That's
Councillor
correct.
Bond?
I also agree.
You may need that solution?
They're in there.
They're on
Those
the,
resolutions are
Oh, they are,
packages.
okay. Okay. And what was the other action item we had? Municipal equipment operators?
Yeah, there's a resolution. I just copied the resolution that was in there
Okay.
and put it in.
And the physician recruitment and retention?
There's no resolution there, but that's something that needed action, I think, through the budget process. Just to keep on your radar if you ask for this one.
So this is this over and above what the presentation was today?
absolutely.
Yes,
So again,
so the physician recruitment and retention section, there's two asks they brought there. One ask is for the locums. Right now, they bring doctors, they're locums, they bring them up to Barry's Bay. They come in and, they don't get any mileage to drive from, say, Ottawa. Where a lot of them, the hospitals now, like Deep River, are now paying standard more mileage, the 60 cents a kilometer, for them to get to their destination. Then the current head of the head doctor at the hospital, he, I believe, has been providing accommodation as well for these locums when they come up. And so they're looking for some additional funding to help cover the costs of these locums and having these locums and to try and encourage these locums a little better. The other ask that they have is specifically towards physician recruitment. For those of you that were at the table last election, you'll recall we had a physician recruitment committee. And that physician recruitment committee, Jane sat on behalf of the township. And we provided funding through an agreement, and it was Killaloe, Haggerty, Richards, North Algona, Wilberforce, Madawaska Valley, and Hastings Highlands, and Brudenell, Lindaught, Raglan were all part of that group. And there was a formula, it happened before I was here, and the agreement doesn't actually have the formula in the agreement, because I went back to see how that formula was determined. But in that agreement, you know, a place like Madawaska Valley has a much bigger tax base, they have a much bigger budget, so they were using, I don't know if they used households or assessment or a combination of households and assessment, so that there was a proportionate share that each municipality paid towards the physician recruitment program. They had a part-time recruiter that went and they went out to recruitment fairs, they went out to the universities and tried to encourage students to come up. And then they physically paid a signing bonus to each of the doctors they signed. So I don't know what it was in Barry's Bay off the top of my head because I wasn't here, but I know the one we dealt with in Bonaire Valley was $50,000 per physician. So every doctor that got hired got a $50,000 amount for signing on with us that was paid out over 5 years. So that's what they've been doing with I think four of the doctors.
I'm pretty sure it was the same.
Yeah, so now that number's changed. The bigger centers, a lot of the centers that are providing that bonus now are paying $150,000 per doctor, which is very substantive when you think of the size of our community. So what they're saying is they're going to career fairs now and they're going to universities And the first thing the doctors, these new physicians are asking as they're coming out of school is, how much you're gonna give me? And they've got nothing to offer them. The committee was disbanded at the end of the last term of council. They, quote, I believe said, "We've fulfilled our mandate. We've hired the doctors that we had planned to hire." So it was terminated. There was a $16,000 amount returned to the our municipality. Everybody got their share of what was left based on what they had put in.
So that's where that $16,000 came.
That's exactly where it comes from. So now what they're looking to do is reform physician recruitment. And I believe that the doctor that's the head of the hospital over there is going to be the one that wants to continue to do the recruitment, because as the head physician, he knows the community, he knows the things that we have, all the good things that the doctors coming out of school want to hear, quality of life, all those things. He understands that better than sending Brian out to do it for them.
It's Malinowski, eh?
Yeah, that's his name. I'm terrible with enunciating that name, so. So anyway, what they're looking for now is some money towards doing that. So they put those into their asks. But I think that the way that they've done it is they've equally dispersed, because they weren't a party to the formula before. It was simply, we as municipalities came up with that agreement in order to help fund it. And Barry's Bay was overseeing the money itself. So I think this year is the last year some of those doctors are being paid. So Barry's Bay has that money in a bank account to pay those out.
So I think it has become part of our budget.
It's certainly, I think that it's something we need to discuss more at the budget table, but it's also, should there be some discussions maybe amongst the municipalities with the hospital about this previous agreement and proportionate share. You know, Brunella and South Algonquin are, 1,200, 1,500 people, where Madawaska Valley and Hastings Highlands are, 4,000. So, their taxes they collect 10 million a year on their budget. We collect 4. So 25,000 that they've asked for is a lot more proportionately different for us here and in Brunel than say for Barry's Bay. Barry's Bay, 25,000 might be an easy reach in their pocket, right? So anyway, that's kind of where all that whole thing came from. And we've had a couple of meetings with the hospital where they've indicated they've got 4 doctors that are looking after the emergency department. Those 4 doctors are working 1 week each. They work 12-hour night shift. They do the whole night, and then they're still running private practice. They also still have the Valley Manor and all of those. So there's a need to bring in some more doctors so to handle the patient load. Well, everybody in the country is short of doctors at the moment, so we're all in the same boat, and they're all fighting for the same doctors. I don't know though that there's anything preventing a doctor we hired 4 or 5 years ago, who's now at the end of their term, from at the end of that term, talking to Kingston and getting $150,000 and picking up their bags and moving. So is this going to become a cyclical thing where every 5 years the doctors are going to pick up and move for the extra $150K in their pocket? I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day,
private all the time.
the Canada Health, the federal government is responsible under the Canada Health Act for the provision of healthcare services in the country. They've delegated those services to the province through provincial legislation. But somebody along the way is not meeting their legislated requirements, and it's now falling on us as municipalities to fund a problem that shouldn't be being funded by us.
So if nobody has read, or I'm sure maybe everyone has read, and I was just late at getting to it this week, had a full page on healthcare topic, basically from the Madawaska Valley mayor. And it was eloquently stated there at, how this is a problem not for municipalities, it's actually a problem that should go to the provincial level. And that, if we continue to do things, are we then going to be offloaded even more when it comes to other services, not just healthcare? So if you haven't read it, I'd urge you to read it and reread it again. Myself, I probably will do that. But just very interesting. This has been an ongoing problem. It was there when I was in management. It has not changed any. The only thing I can say is that they were successful in recruiting. But having said that, what are they doing for retention? You know, it's, yes, it's a community need. But again, if it's a hospital, and again, I know they have a budget line, that they do pay for travel expenses, at least it was there at the time I was there. As well as they had 2, possibly 3, sleepover rooms, 2 of those which were designated as physicians, and they were revamped and done up nicely so that they stayed right within. So that would have been your Health Force Ontario physicians coming up to do a shift in emerge. Also the physicians, local physicians that do on call, they would also stay there. Excuse me. The recruiter in the past, again, Erin Dino was one of them. And again, she did a lot getting it up and running because we had never had one. And I think that's a good thing to do, is to have somebody designated to do those things. Again, recruiting is one thing. It's then how do you keep them there, right? And I think that's what's lacking. They haven't looked at that. Is it money? I don't know. I mean, anybody will do anything for money nowadays, so.
Yeah.
Right.
I think throwing into the mix as well, we need to be wary of definite succession planning for our health centre here in Whitney.
Absolutely.
Because the doctor there is, well, he's not in his 30s, put it like that.
I think they can take care of themselves and they have, you know.
Well, and the 3 asks in total work out to almost a 2% levy increase
Yes.
or no, pardon me, not a levy, tax increase.
Tax increase.
Right, so that we have to add 2% of our to our taxes this year.
Yeah.
Without any of our other operational needs to help fund their asks. So that's why I think that this goes back, is an important part of our budget discussion, but I thought it's important to have this discussion today. Just for people to put it into perspective, it's 2%.
And that's what Madawaska Valley had written in black and white in that article, was that how much money it was going to.
Was that Wilmer that did that, the mayor?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Is that in this week's paper?
I would assume. I picked it up yesterday, but that doesn't mean it couldn't have been last week's. I was just I had to kill some time, so I picked up a paper.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Well, that's been an age-old problem since we started
has.
in Whitney with the medical center.
Absolutely.
It's a whole retention recruitment problem, and
Right.
I agree. This is not a problem for the
No.
municipalities. It's a province of Ontario problem that has been
Right.
at at the mercy of these doctors. I mean, they don't want to do that all the time either,
No.
right? Because then their own patients suffer. So I think that, I think it has to be part of our budget. I think also, though, I agree that this is not,
It's not
a
the
job of the
community.
municipalities.
So when I first started working in 85 at the hospital in Barry's Bay, the physicians worked in their office, which were located everywhere, and they also covered emerge. So if you had somebody walk into emerge, you had to figure out who was on call them. You were lucky if the physician actually had their office in town, because 9 times out of 10, you could have sent that person over to their office. It got so busy over the years that they finally had to say, okay, this isn't working. We'll bring all of you in. And that was why that medical center was built, so that they could all be having their office there. everything continued well until Emerge just expanded.
And
And then there was way too many, too many people for them to juggle hospital and their office. So often they would call it a admin day in their office. They'd be there physically, but they'd be doing a lot of work, catching up in their office and still work Emerge. Nowadays, they have to basically be in Emerge pretty well all the time.
right. I mean, gone are the days of Dr. Lloyd, who did a lot of
Absolutely.
Emerge that would rent down anytime.
Yeah,
You know, you wanna see me come to Emerge, because that's where I'm going to be.
you're right.
And he's not there anymore, he's passed away, but that kind of service isn't there anymore. Doctors wanna have a life too.
Yeah.
You know, and so you can appreciate the whole major problem
Yeah,
that's going on
But
here.
in Phenom, when we were up there last year, they had that one physician. I can't remember where he was from, but he did that whole presentation right, this was his presentation, basically,
Mhm.
saying the government has to do something.
I think, I mean, I might be wrong, but it's my understanding that it's the province that determines how many general practitioners there are in the province. And that number has not been increased. So you've got someone coming out of medical school, they've done their residency and they've decided to go down the general practice route. They can't just set up a general practice wherever they like. They have to buy into an existing practice or actually pay when another physician is retiring. Surely that is what needs to be addressed.
I think they've increased the amount or the numbers going into university. I think they did that for both RN and physician over the last few years. Because they used to cap the number of people that actually could go in.
Mhm.
I
So
think-
a friend of mine has passed out as a general practitioner, and she wanted to practice in Port Hope. And she has had to wait and buy a practice of someone retiring,
Wow, that's incredible.
to the tune of $500,000
Yeah.
to buy that practice,
Mhm.
plus all her medical fees. So we're not, is the province controlling the number of general practitioners?
I mean, it's a good question, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that we got two groups, which for the layperson, it's hard to tell the difference between which one is which.
And which
Both
one-
asking us for money on the same day. Do we help them to build the building or do we help them to put the physicians in the building?
Yeah.
Like, what good is the building without having the physician there?
And then how much equipment do we need?
Well, yeah, of course, and they're always, like, equipment wears out, so as soon as you get one paid for, then you gotta buy another
Gotta
one.
buy a new one.
So there's always gonna be a drive of, so they're actively
Going against one another.
raising money for stuff in the existing building. Now they're asking for money to build a new building and for money to buy new equipment in the new building and asking for money for the doctors
Attention
to
of the
run.
doctor.
Like, I feel like I'm a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I think, yesterday somebody had the great idea is that if the existing, communities got back together and, had a presentation done by the hospital, we could maybe have more of an open discussion and try to figure out where, to go from here. I have a hard time, like you, they're asking for money from two different sides, and which one is the best? And how do we go forward?
I'm a firm believer that if there was more access to general practice and your own doctor was more accessible and more people had their own doctor, it would take the weight off the emergency, because people are turning up to Emerge that don't have a family physician or can't get in for a week or what have you. And they're turning up with an earache or an infection, something which needs to be dealt with immediately. Sure it does, but it really isn't what I consider an emergency room situation.
But that's gonna happen more and more because there's statistics show that there's going to be more people, the doctors come down in within
Right.
20 years.
So does the province need to be lobbied to put more family physicians out there
And then
to take the load off of the emergency departments?
that's the whole bigger picture.
Yes.
Again, this has
So,
not,
no.
this isn't a new problem.
No.
You know, this has been brewing for
Okay.
20 years probably.
Yeah.
And the same when it goes to, you know, your RNs, that problem has been there for a number of years.
Yeah,
There are some new changes in the medical field, like new ways of diagnosing and that gonna shortcut. Like, actually, if I have an earache, all I want is medicine to fix it. I don't care who looks at it. And there's an app now that Dr. Malinowski's office is using anyways called Medio, and they do diagnosis over secure email.
send a picture of it.
I
Yeah.
actually used it
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
It worked fine.
And there are, RVAC is a really good service, like here,
Yeah, we could, we could debate this
forever.
forever, but we could have the world's greatest equipment in our hospital, and if we got nobody to
No
operate.
doctor.
We don't have a physician or a doctor to operate.
So which are we supporting, the building or the doctor?
Should we support the physician
Okay.
recruitment
Take and split it.
or take an amount of money and split it as you say?
So can I suggest to council, that we can get a presentation if you want on doctor recruitment, but can I suggest that we table these and put into our budget discussions? Because it ultimately, that's where it's going to end up. We can support it in principle, but I don't think we can put the dollars to it.
The one point is though, the commitment to the building is a one-time commitment. The building to position recruitment
It's going
is going to be
on.
on forever.
Yeah,
Good point.
I agree with tabling because of that, but I think we should be prudent to be reaching out to the other municipalities that were in that recruitment
Mhm.
group, just to see again how
Where
they
they're
feel,
at.
where they're at, how they're feeling about it.
We went to that meeting, with the area mayors, the area mayors. Remember they had a meeting
Yeah,
in
the
the parish
hospital.
at the hospital, yeah.
Hospital.
Malinowski was there, and the chair of the board was there, you see.
Hastings County Healthcare, which is the bankrupt hospital, I think that they went through this whole,
Yeah,
what we're going through right now.
yeah,
The recruitment phase of it, and some of it backfired in the phase two, right?
They did.
There was a lot of issues there in Bancroft for a long time.
And
So
there
I don't
still
know
is.
if they've resolved that yet or not,
I
but
don't think so.
yeah.
They're working on the Bancroft Family Health Team, I think. I think they're under the Bancroft Family Health
Yes, sir.
Team. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, they were anyway.
Or they were, yeah.
No, it's a worthy discussion. I mean, it all ends up, are we lobbying the province or are we going to look at it, I think it's the much bigger concern and bigger picture, right?
Absolutely.
So anyway. Okay, can I ask the indulgent council to maybe move on to?
Get him.
I'll go again.
I'll get him. Well, me too.
I've gotta go to the washroom.
Excuse me.
Are we in business of motions? Is there any new business anyone wants to know? Now we'll move on to motions, council, new motions.
If it's motions of council, I want the record to show that I've left the room for the first one.
Okay, thank you.
I think we still have that, rural economic development.
Oh, I'm
right?
sorry. Thank you, council.
And I know, Sean will probably want to talk to that.
Who?
Sean will
Oh.
probably want to speak to that.
Yeah, I think, Sean, I think was the one who asked Tracy to add that to the agenda. if I'm not wrong.
Okay. Who's going to the washroom? Are we still on Zoom?
We're still on speaker.
Yeah, still on speaker. Can we maybe take a 5-minute break?
Sure.
Okay. Thanks,
You
everyone.
are back.
Okay, so the next item is rural economic development grant, Sean, Councilor Sean?
Yes, this was brought to my attention, via Councilor Kuyak. The RED program is Rural Economic Development, and it's through MAFRA. Funding comes through two streams. Now, the kicker here is it's got a deadline.
It's got a what?
It has a deadline.
Okay,
Deadline of February 21st to apply to this grant. Comes in two streams. Funding comes through two streams. One stream is economic diversification and competitiveness, okay? What we put in, they put in 50% of that. So up to $150,000. The second stream is strategic economic infrastructure, okay? And they will contribute up to 30% of it to a total of $250,000. The long and the short of it, okay, I should have brought all that information up on my screen and I apologize. The second one is more for beautification, the way I see it. Whether it be streetscaping and landscaping and so forth that we can apply for.
Like that town or that grant that you guys got down here for downtown beautification.
Yes. And stack funding up to 90% of the project. So that's why I got in touch with Brian about if we could do something with that for stack funding. So, anyhow, I think this would be a good plan so that we have plans. Stephen Ronholm, he has in his budget for us to take down the gazebo here in town and to rebuild it. So I'm thinking we could apply to get some funds for that so that we don't have to take it out of his budget because there's other fish to fry with what's going on with our assets, right? That and that pathway by the dam as well too, that was never fully completed. So we get some funding for that. And then later on down the road, once we know which way we can go with this, maybe we could possibly get funding for the project in Madawaska as well too. But as for right now, because of the time sensitivity of it all, if we could just get some money for the gazebo here in town.
Does Stephen have all the figures for taking that down and
He's
replacing it?
figuring, okay, he went by past documents from Dave Gatley. And the gazebo at the beach here in Whitby and the gazebo in Madawaska as well too, it was about $10,000 each.
Okay.
That was then.
Unfortunately, the one in Madawaska was built too small and it had to have an extension put on it, but that's by and by, but.
So, but if we're to get funding for this, we should get an idea of what it's gonna be and let's double it and apply for that, right?
But you're not suggesting that we take it out of the budget right now, you're just suggesting we make an application
An
for a
application
grant.
for this,
But-
absolutely.
But
yes.
we're not taking the present money and saying we're not gonna do that now.
No.
I don't want to see that.
So say for instance, okay, the rebuild of the gazebo was gonna cost us $15,000.
Yeah, yeah.
And Steven's got, say, $12,000 in his budget to rebuild it, so then we don't have to touch all of that $12,000.
Right. Is that the only project that you're thinking of that we would do under this grant at this
We could
point?
go on and on with this, but yeah,
So-
off the top of my head, and because of the sensitivity of, it's gotta be in by the 21st.
Yeah.
And today is the
Can that be
7th,
done?
so 14 days, 14 calendar days.
Yeah. What's the wish of council we pursue with this?
I think it could become very much a focal point of Whitney in the downtown. I mean, it could have solar lighting on it, it could have picnic areas on it, it could become a very nice place
Yeah.
for people to congregate.
It's,
I mean, in time, maybe there could be like a fair and not farmers market, there's that.
Correct.
But craft fairs yeah, definitely.
So what's the percentage of grant amount?
90%, did you say?
No, for the second stream, for the strategic infrastructure, 30%, up to a total of $250,000.
No, that's, you're talking put the gazebo under that. Right?
Yes.
So they would only do 30%.
30%.
of that,
I guess
of
it's
that
better than
cost.
nothing, right?
Yeah, 30% of,
And my contact at the ministry has already advised that, if we're going to apply, pick one and go. Don't pick both because you won't get in it.
Okay.
So, yeah, something's better than nothing.
Well, because it came up so quickly too, right? Like, you don't really have a lot of time to really debate and.
Lighting is part of, like streetscaping, lighting, getting back to, at some point in time, somebody thought it was a good idea, like the dam.
Right,
Right, I think it's a cool thing, but at what cost?
right.
If it's $25,000, as Joe mentioned, in the past, that's what you thought that the estimate was. to
I
link
can't
it.
remember now, but it's something.
But yeah, no, I'm not taking taxpayers' money and doing that, but if we can get money
no, I agree.
from another level of government to beautify, right?
Yeah.
Cause it's all about tourism, right?
Right.
It's where a lot of our dollars come from.
Yeah, and that place is used a lot, only done this business.
Yeah.
You know what, even in the wintertime?
Yeah.
Snow
I
will
think have
stop.
meetings there, you know what I mean, it's like,
Mhm.
you'll go there and have meetings, it's well used.
So, yeah, if it's gotten to the point where it's unsafe and we have to tear it down,
Oh, yeah.
it's gotta be replaced, absolutely, right? So it'd be better to be using somebody else's money rather than our own.
Right. Okay, I agree, I concur, I just don't want it to be lost in the shuffle. I don't want it, like, I want it to go ahead, something has to be done there. And you gotta remember that, one of our former councilors, Councilor Kuyak, Frank Kuyak, built that at his own cost.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was one of his goals, that he wanted done in the community. And, in retrospect, he didn't get a lot of credit for doing it. So I'd like to see it refurbished or taken down and redone.
Maybe, probably,
It would be
in
nice.
his honor,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think that gazebo is substantially larger than,
It
one
is.
at the beach and the one at the beach.
Oh, it is,
Yeah.
yeah, it is, yeah.
So it's gonna cost substantially more than
Yeah,
those
it was his vision of how he wanted that. He just said it, I remember the conversation, he said, I'm doing it. He got that.
Right. No, I get it. And that was just in brief conversation with, the work superintendent that we filed, the previous two gazebos, and that's what.
He did get us 2 quick quotes.
Yeah.
When we were talking about it, but again, it would have been substantially small, the gazebo quote.
Can we do that?
But even, you know,
I could do that.
the demolition of the existing gazebo now,
Yeah, that's
is
what.
gonna come at a cost to us as well, right? And he says, well, we'll just get the works department to do it,
Just
but guess
direction.
what? We're paying their wages. So it's gonna cost us to tear that gazebo down as well too, so if we can get money for the demolition as well for it.
So is it council's wishes to give direction to staff to proceed with this?
Yes. Yes. As far as I'm concerned, yes.
Okay. Okay, Council Pijot?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that information. Councilor Kuya, Councilor Pijot.
She put the bug in my ear.
Yeah. Well, you know, these things are important to do, go to and get information. We're going to move on to motion to council.
Information.
Oh, we're on information, okay, so all the information's there for you. I'm not gonna read it, and go through it. I'm sure you've all read it, 1 o'clock this morning. Okay. Is there anything?
It's the medical officers of health report off to the board, it was for the.
Yeah, I just put that in, we had that put in for your information.
And then we're on to motion.
Motion to council.
And now I will leave you.
Thank you.
Come and get me.
It's noted that Council Floyd is leaving the room. God, he messed up there. Okay, the first motion. I need a mover and a seconder to approve the annual operated grant donation of $2,500 to the Flying Feathers Archery Club. This is not new. This happens every year. And I just wanted to note, that I've already done that, but Council Florent has left the room. So I'm asking for a mover and seconder to get this on the floor.
I would like to move that.
Moved by Councillor Collins, seconded by Councillor Pigeon.
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin approves the annual operating grant donation of $2,500 to the Flying Feathers Archery Club.
I'm looking for discussion. There any discussion? See none, I'll call me. Oh,
I did. So this was an area of contention last year when this came up. And at that time, it was like, okay, is there policy procedure within our township? And probably a month after, we had already 2 other requests come in, asking for a grant donation. One was turned down, the other one was flatly turned down. And I sort of went, well, I knew that was going to happen. So I'm not sure. I don't think we've had a policy review or a procedure review on this one. I realize the history of this, but it hasn't, it's still going to be a bone of contention out there for other organizations. So those are my thoughts on this one.
okay.
Don't know how anybody else feels about it, but.
Any other?
What's been happening there at the club over this past year? Anybody know?
It's been active to my knowledge.
Yeah.
And also to my knowledge, there has been classes set there for young people as well that have been supported and tutoring done free of any charge to young people. I think it is an asset to South Algonquin to have such a club in our township. And without the grant, they cannot operate, basically. They can't afford any of the taxation, and they do not have enough members there to actually support it and keep it running. So
the club itself was deemed shortly after amalgamation that it had been a part of the municipality from the beginning. It was much like a rec committee or anything else. And that's why they always funded it, because it was deemed to be a municipal group.
And it was. I take your point kind of quickly, but this goes back in the history of the amalgamation and what was going to happen after amalgamation. And it was at that point in time said, at that point in time, part of it was under the rural board. And John Haskins, I think, remember correctly, was the chair of the rural board. And at the point of amalgamation, it was deemed that this archery club would be part of the township and would come into the township. And I mean, I'm going back a while here, but it may not have been a policy, but it was certainly well known to the people that sat on that amalgamation committee and that brought forward these to the new township, that this would be part of the township. That this cost, if you want to say it, or this donation would be part of the township. I don't know why this doesn't go into our annual donation. You know, that comes up just annually into our donation.
Well, it always has, but because it's part of the formation of our budget.
Yeah.
If we put it, if it's just stuck in the budget, then Joe can't vote on any of the budget. So we
move it out.
Purposely pulled it out on recommendation of legal for it to be addressed separate and apart from the balance of the budget.
can I ask who actually owns the building?
The archery club.
The archery club.
The archery club.
But the club is not a not-for-profit club.
And taxes and everything, I mean, who would pay any of
It's a
that?
lease through the ministry.
So it's
They
like,
lease the land,
So the LUP?
yeah. That the archery club leases that land and the building.
There's a lot of volunteer time
You know,
going
land
in.
house, I think, yeah.
There's a lot of volunteer time goes into this club. So, you know, yes, it's a bone of contention. It's been made a bone of contention. But that's the history. And, you know, I don't have any problem going out and telling people that that's the history. I mean, you know, there's history to amalgamation. You know, there's things that you say, yeah, we're going to continue to support, and I will continue to support this.
Would it make more sense if the township took upon that as an asset, that building?
I don't know whether it would have to be investigated.
So it's something that probably would require some discussions at a future date. So, but then we may be responsible to ensure programming is done. We may, you know, it's gonna become more of it may become more of a liability if we're now staffing it, if we're now plowing it, if we're now doing all the upkeep and maintenance that the volunteers are doing currently, then the ask that they have each year, it may actually cost us more money. The question is whether or not what level of service we wish to maintain. And as I said, this was like all other municipal portions of the entity, it was deemed to be a municipal entity during that amalgamation process.
So
And it's been funded as such ever since.
So it's been grandfathered
Yeah.
since amalgamation. Why would we not continue?
well, I think my issue is that it just led to other things coming to us that we then said, no, not supporting or no why. And again, it's like the policy, for anybody wishing to have a grant.
We'll put together a grant policy.
You know, and that's where I'm leaning towards. It's like, it's 2,500, yes, but do we have a line in the budget that we have a $10,000 line in the budget so that we can give out more money if people are asking? Like, do we give everybody money that comes in with a
No, you
grant
don't.
application?
You don't, because this was grandfathered in as part of the amalgamation.
It's the grandfathering issue, I think, that we've got here.
If council wishes to provide grants to other groups or have that money available, you can either ensure you allocate money during the budget specific to maybe future asks, or secondary. You'll have to accept those as they come in on an as-is basis, and like those other two requests, council said no to them. So I mean, it really is a council decision to make those decisions.
So maybe this isn't a grant donation as stated here, because it says the annual operating grant donation,
This is where I was going with
you
that.
know. Because if it's a grant, and then you have to go look at what your policies are. So maybe that's just poor wording on that one.
Okay.
Well, it's one of those things that I think brings in, like, they do hold like tournaments out there every once in a while, and brings people into town.
Yep,
And other, you know, I'm thinking, you know, down the road, I mean, we should be trying to promote some of these other
Absolutely.
things.
I have no problem with that amount. It's the problem sits with then what do you do with other people that
On a
are coming
case
in
by case
asking for it?
Right, but then again, when people do come in, it's sort of like you adjudicate, it'd be the same as adjudicating a loan request or something, right? You look at it and weigh it on its merits and its disadvantages and say, you know, is it worth putting $5,000 into this? Let's say, bobsled race.
Right,
You know, and you look at it and say, well, it's gonna cost us $100,000 to do it, and it's only gonna generate $50,000 to it.
right.
Or we could have the FIFA.
I was gonna say, it's just like Trump's, they're saying how much money city of Toronto and the province is putting in for this. So this is just a smaller scale.
Yeah, but we just gotta look at each individual thing, and yes, sometimes we're gonna say no, and sometimes we're gonna say yes.
And from a budget standpoint, then do we have a line item so that we know that we have, you know, 5,000, 10,000?
We probably should.
And then,
And then we could say to people, we agree with what you're asking. We would like to support you, but unfortunately our budget line item is maxed out this year. Please apply again next year. I mean, that would give us, possibly a fairer way of dealing with stuff. But I agree, this shouldn't be called a grant. I don't know what you would call it. Grandfathering.
So would council be comfortable or to just say the annual operating donation? Take out the word grant? Is that what you're?
I think that would be.
Operating support, no, I'm not sure what we should call this, but I don't believe it comes under the grant umbrella, and we do have a grant policy. But I think because of the grandfathering of this, I don't believe it sits in the same.
Why it should come up every.
It's more of an operating contribution that's been being made since
Yes.
forever. That said, if council wants us,
Guaranteed operating, guaranteed from years previous.
Grandfather operating.
and if council wants us to set aside money in the budget, specific to grant requests from the community,
Yes.
then council has that authority to say, hey, how come there's no money here? Give us $10,000 or whatever it is you want. Like I say, that's a council decision as we do deliberate budget.
I think to actually say a grandfathering obligation should this line item be, and not a grant.
Well, I also sort of thought that maybe it should go into the Madawaska recreation budget. And that it would be funneled in that way, but then that probably isn't the right way of doing things, because this is, as a township, we have nothing to do with this.
We have lots.
We have no liability from it, so that if it went through the other stream of funding, would it start getting blurred? Anyways.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor.
That's an interesting thought. Sorry.
Any other discussion on this motion?
I will support it, but I think the wording needs to be changed
You want to move
to
the
a
amendment to do the
grandfathering
wording?
obligation, grandfathered obligation.
Grandfather obligation.
Tracy, can you amend the resolution?
Is that a friendly amendment? Can we take that as a friendly amendment?
Yeah, I can read it again. Grandfathered obligation. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I think we should take a look at it, looking through more things through the recreation committee, as far as I'm concerned.
They are not funded, and they're.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, it's one of those things, I think we gotta consider these things for the future.
Because that was part, before amalgamation, the Flying Feathers was part of their.
It's under the local roads board authority. That's what they're.
It was all part of the mentality was recreation.
It was all under the local roads board authority, and they got dismantled by the government. And we didn't want to do this either, type of thing. The decision was the local roads boards are going to be disbanded. They'll be put somewhere. Could have been Renfrew County, could have been Hastings, right? Before that happened, Dickens and the other local roads boards came to us and said, would you consider doing an amalgamation with us? With that came this.
I remember.
Yeah.
My father being part of that.
You remember? And he voiced his concerns too.
Oh, absolutely.
So he actually did.
Okay, so would you like me to move on and read the resolution again?
Yes.
So it was moved by Councillor Collins and seconded by Councillor Pija that council for the corporation of the Township of South Algonquin approves the annual grandfathered obligation of $2,500 to the Flying Feathers Archery Club.
Okay, so it's been duly moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried.
Can I just ask, I'm sorry, what I wanted was like, it came to my head afterwards, is can we as a council then look at the donation or grant application policy and try to figure out what the best way is to go forward with that? Because you know, going back again, we had two requests from last year, both were denied, and, you know, I can just see more problems coming.
We'll look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Counselor Warren, back then.
Yeah, he should be part of the discussion as to the grant for stuff as well too, right?
Oh, yeah. I have no.
No.
It's the fall process.
Okay, so going to back, the motion is carried and moving on to the next motion. A mover and a seconder to authorize the CO clerk treasurer to make the following reserve transfers, which Jennifer spoke about.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councillor Floyd, seconded by Councillor Steindock.
The council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin authorizes the CAO clerk treasurer effective December 31st, 2023 to make the following reserve transfers. $100,498.50 from general reserves, $2,973.37 from fire facilities equipment reserve, $80,964.22 from transportation fleet equipment reserve, $11,864 from recreation facility equipment programming reserve, $6,860 from accessibility reserve, $3,879.05 to recreation committee reserves, Whitney Rec, $7,431.53 to recreation committee reserve, M&L Rec. Transfer remaining surplus deficit to general reserve. Upon determination, transferred surplus will be reassigned to the appropriate reserve accounts, and that the aforementioned transfer be completed following auditor review.
Okay, it's been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, it's carried. The next resolution is on to proceed with the application for the purchase of the unopened shore allowances. As discussed at the Asset Management Committee meeting, so I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Kuyak, second by Councillor Pijot.
That council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin authorize staff to proceed with the application received for the purchase of the unopened shore road allowance as discussed at the January 17, 2024 Asset Management Committee meeting for lands in front of Concession 5, Part Lot 13, Lyle Ward, locally known as 178 Davies Lane, adjacent to Lyle Lake, on the condition that an easement be granted benefiting 198 Davies Lane through a consent application process.
Well, that's a mouthful. Been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, it's carried. Thank you. I need a mover and seconder to accept Lawyer Rickler as a member of the Wiki Rec Committee. Councillor Sidel, seconded by Councillor Kuyak.
That council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin accepts Gloria Leclaire as a member of the Whitney Recreation Committee.
Been duly moved and seconded. Discussion, please. See none, all in favor? Opposed, it's carried. Now, I don't think we have to read that whole one. We have to read all of this. Oh my goodness, so I need a mover and seconder for this, to support this resolution, I guess, from across the province.
I'll make the motion.
It's moved by Councillor Florence, seconded by Councillor Collins.
Whereas municipal public works departments from across the province of Ontario provide invaluable service to our communities, ensuring the health and safety of all residents. And whereas if it was not for our municipal public works employees from across the province of Ontario maintaining our public road system, our communities would not be able to function as emergency personnel, could not respond to calls, school buses could not get our children to school, residents would not be able to get to work, school or appointments, and many more basic functions would not be able to happen. And whereas municipal public works departments are already feeling the impact of the labor shortage, which will only be exacerbated over the next 3 to 5 years, which will cause levels of service municipalities are able to provide to ensure the health and safety of our residents to decrease. And whereas there is currently no provincial-wide course that properly trains potential municipal public works employees specifically relating to municipal heavy equipment. Therefore, be it resolved that the Township of South Algonquin supports the work of the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors to develop a municipal equipment operator course to address this issue. And that the Township of South Algonquin calls on the Province of Ontario Ministry of Labor, Training, Immigration and Skilled Trades to fully fund the municipal equipment operator course in 2024 through the Skill Development Fund. And that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Minister of Labor, Training, Immigration and Skilled Trade, David Bikini, Township of South Algonquin's Member of Provincial Parliament, John Yakubuski, and the Association of the Ontario Road Supervisors.
Been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councillor
Just
Cox?
down along the St. Lawrence, just along by Ingleside, there is a facility already set up where people go to learn how to operate cranes, backhoes, bulldozers, excavators, etc., etc. And it's Eastern Ontario something heavy equipment school. And I'm just wondering whether or not they could be approached to run a course. I believe, I mean, when I've passed there, I mean, Mondays is like backhoe day and they're all digging holes, and Tuesday maybe bulldozer day and they're filling in the holes, and so it's basic training on this heavy equipment that is being put forward here. And I think that a course like that may be beneficial to be looked at.
That's only one of several different heavy equipment operating schools in the
It's
province.
It's the only one I know about, so.
But this is not to do that. This is to ask the province to pay for it.
Yes, okay,
Yeah, so, yeah, okay, does that help?
yes, sorry.
Okay, any other discussion on this? Okay, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Well, this is and you move in seconder to implement the $10 replacement fee for waste disposal site passes. Okay, I'll move by Councillor Pizzo,
Absolutely, I'm all about waste.
second by Councillor Collins. Any discussion?
Corporation of the Township
Oh,
of South
sorry.
Algonquin implements a $10 replacement fee for waste disposal site passes, and at such time, the schedule of fees bylaw 2023-768 is amended or replaced, this fee will be included in the schedule.
Been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I'm just going to give a little bit of a warning that you're going to be inundated with calls of people complaining that they're going to have to pay $10 for their card. They're not going to understand that it's a replacement card. You're going to get the first one free. If we had the cards already out there and then we pass this, so it doesn't matter, but I'm not gonna be the one getting the complaints.
Yeah, I was just checking the wording of it, and it says replacement fee.
I know, but people see what they wanna see.
Should have highlighted it.
I'm still in favor of it. I'm not gonna vote against it or nothing. I'm just,
We're gonna be, one way or the other, we're gonna be swamped with this, but
It's 2 weeks before the tax bills go out, isn't it? Are
Yeah,
they
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah, the first of March, first week of March.
but you can be sure,
uh-huh.
so this will be on Facebook this afternoon.
Well, let's just make it clear that this is a replacement card, a replacement.
I think in the first while we have the cards out there, there's gonna be a lot of lost cards.
Yeah. I mean, I think this maybe have to, as said earlier, may have to be relooked at where it's going to be, you know, I agree with Council Floyd, we're going to get a lot of calls.
Undated, yeah.
Anyway, I'm calling, any other discussion on this motion? I'm calling in the vote, all in favor? Opposed, carried. Okay, the next resolution to support, the resolution from the township of Clearview and the town of Clemson, Wyoming. Mover? Who wants to move? Counselor Kuya, second?
I'll second.
Counselor Florent?
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin supports the resolutions from Township of Clearview and the Town of Clinton, Wyoming regarding the cemetery transfer, abandonment, administration, and management support.
Been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just want to add again, this is asking the province for money to help us with that. It's not saying that we want to do it or we don't want to do it, it's just that we want help.
When it does happen.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next resolution, that Township of South Algonquin support the resolution of the City of Greater Sudbury and the same Township of Clymonton, Wyoming regarding amendments to the Health and Safety Act as to the definition of employer. I need a mover.
I'll move it.
Moved by
I'll
Council,
second.
moved by Council Florent, seconded by Council Pijot.
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin supports the resolutions from the City of Greater Sudbury and the Town of Clinton, Wyoming regarding an amendment to the Occupational Health and Safety Act to clarify the definition of employer.
Okay, been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion on this motion?
Just briefly, I just want to make it clear to everybody the motion of this, definition of employer, is because of the case that happened in Sudbury where a contractor, killed a pedestrian with a road grader. And the city of Sudbury got sued for it. They went to court and they still lost because of that said definition of it. So I just want to make everybody clear on this motion.
Thank you. Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, it's carried. Are there any, those are the motions of council today. Are there any notice of motions that anyone would like to bring? Okay, I'm going on to the bylaws. Have a bylaw in your information package. I guess I'm ready to move in a second, or just have to go first, second, third reading, eh?
Yeah, can you move a second?
Okay, I need a mover and a seconder for bylaw 2024-781, 2024-782, and 2024-783. And the mover, Councillor Sideout, seconded by Councillor Collins.
That bylaw 2024-781 for the stopping up and closing shore road allowance in front of 54 Ottawa Street. Bylaw 2024-782 to provide for an interim tax levy and to provide for the payment of the taxes. Bylaw 2024-783 confirm the proceedings of council be read a first time and be deemed read a second time.
Been duly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on any of these bylaws? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay, with these same bylaws, bylaw 2024-781, bylaw 2024-782, and bylaw 2024-783. I need a mover and a seconder to be read a third time. Councillor Collins, Councillor Pijot.
That bylaw 2024-781 for the stopping up and closing shore road allowance in front of 54 Ottawa Street. Bylaw 2024-782 to provide for an interim tax levy and to provide for the payment of taxes. Bylaw 2024-783 confirm the proceedings of council be read a third time and passed.
Duly moved and seconded. Any discussion on this bylaw? See none. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you. We don't have any resolution, don't have any closed session today. So with that, I don't know, I guess it's the main motion of the day. I need a mover and a seconder to adjourn the council meeting.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Moved by Councillor Florence, seconded by Councillor Rodnick.
The council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adjourns a regular council meeting of February 7, 2024 at 12:42 p.m.
Duly moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you, everyone.